week on Tuesday in Berea. It's week 2 of OTAs. Both Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders trying to take the needed steps to be the starting quarterback. OTAs continue with practice today. Afterwards, we will hear from head coach Todd Monken and some players this afternoon right here on 92.3 The Fan. Can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time for the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
The afternoon drive.
That was a home game for the Knicks last night. So I can't be mad that the Cavs didn't show up to this game, or they showed up for like a quarter and then were like, I don't really want to do this. I can't be mad at them because half of the Cavs fans, the wine and cheese crowd, did the same thing.
The afternoon drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
It was a terribly embarrassing way to finish the year. You could say they're out of gas. They're still pros. You're still at home. It was still ugly. And I think that that's part of the reason why some people were feeling that way. Now, that said, the question of the day is going to be for everybody, should they blow it up? And my answer is no. As disappointed as I am, as upset as I am, as embarrassing as that game was, and it was without a doubt embarrassing, I don't think that it's blow-up time for this basketball team. I have my reasons, and I'll tell you why.
You don't want to go to Washington Wizards land?
No.
You don't. You're telling me.
That's basically reasons A through Z. If you're saying it and you're mad, guys, I get it. I get it. But if we're just saying blow it up, like if you're still saying blow it up at the end of this week, then I don't think you guys know what you're getting into. And I think the ones that are mad, by the end of today or tomorrow or even the next day, maybe they'll calm down a little bit and understand what you're jumping into. Because when you blow it up, you're committing to something that is going to take at least 4 years probably just to get back to the play-in games.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Hello. They're still mad.
Yes.
Still mad.
Well, I thought he'd be gone. I thought Kenny was gone.
I was under the guys, I got to tell you, they threw me for a loop there because I thought he'd be gone and then everybody would be like satiated a little bit. And so then they would be like, okay, well, we'll move on with a different figurehead in charge of this team. And then they didn't move on from him, which and they have their reasons. It's weird in the NFL. Like you could sit there and rant and rave and go, man, it's time for a change. It's absolutely time for a change. I think baseball, you can do it to a certain degree. And you could see in some cases how things change when they do have a different manager, things like that. Man, in basketball, it's just so hard. You know better than me. I really do. I acquiesce to you. I'm not trying to get out of an argument or anything like that. It's just like some of this stuff. It's like, well, they just decide on whether they like the guy or not. Like you hear some of this craziness that goes on with a coach and why he got fired, why he didn't get fired, and I think in so many ways, firing a coach is kind of throwing the fans a bone, but I don't know, man. This seemed to be pretty cut and dry with the way things went in the fourth in the Eastern Conference Finals and in Game 4 and everything and leading up to it. Like it's just the messaging was bad. He kept sticking his foot in his mouth. Should he lose his job over it? I don't know. Your fans don't feel very good over it, so it was just so hard for me to keep to have good reasons to keep him is all.
Yeah, and obviously you brought up the things that were said. I mean, they got lampooned nationally over his comments. And people like Kenny. Like, nationally, he has a pretty damn good reputation.
I'm sure he's a nice enough guy.
And even those people were like, whoa, boy, what is he talking about? He's complaining about the schedule. He's talking about the shot expectancy and the analytics of all that stuff while his team's just simply not getting back. And then that's another question. If he can't channel, that energy, if he can't get them to make those key adjustments, what does that mean? Is he the coach for the team? Unless,
that's
interesting. And it got me to, obviously, I think most Cavs fans all got them to thinking the same thing, right? Which is, are we sure they're just running back this team? Is that the difference? Is it instead of the coaching change and making sweeping changes with the staff and all that stuff, instead, is Kenny Atkinson going to be coaching a drastically different team next year?
Do you think, one, that this is a mistake to hold on to Kenny Atkinson? Let's just get that out of the way. Do you think it's a mistake?
Not necessarily.
Okay, because I can't claim it would have been a mistake as much as I've said about Kevin Stefanski, this was coming to an end, and anybody who knew it was about a month before that you felt like this thing was going to come to an end with Kevin Stefanski. Maybe both him and Andrew Berry, but they said that Andrew was going to be safe. It felt like this thing would have been a mistake to run it back again. Is it a mistake to run it back with Kenny Atkinson? You said not necessarily. I'm saying not necessarily. And then you brought up something else. Like, who's the better basketball team? Was it? This is going to sound silly at first, and it should. Who do you think is the better basketball team? The Knicks or the Cavs?
Yeah, I'd say the Knicks.
The Knicks, okay. Because to me, when you're complaining about the schedule, it still doesn't wash. Not you, him. When he's complaining about the schedule, it still doesn't wash. And I know he didn't fully get into it because he said he didn't want to get into it. But when you say it without saying you want to get into it, you want to get into it and you want us to talk about it. The schedule incentivizes the better team making quick work of the worst team. Like, they don't start the NBA Finals until next week. So if it goes 7 games with San Antonio and with Oklahoma City, that's another advantage for the Knicks. They've been waiting around for, 8 days? Before that, I mean, that's a huge advantage. And as anybody said, it might hurt you for a half of game one. I don't know if it's going to hurt you forever. So we'll mark the schedule off. Analytically, you can bring up all the analytical stuff that's right. They believe, I do believe this. When James Harden said it, and Kenny Atkinson said it, and this might be the scariest thought of everything. I think they believe they are actually better than the Knicks. And they're blaming things that Cavs fans are just not going to accept them blaming. You remember James Harden? He said that they were still the better team yesterday or 2 days ago. Kenny's bringing up the schedule. Then he's bringing up that, it's a 2-1 series analytically. We've won 2 out of 3 games. Like, what?
What? It sounds like a team in denial.
Are they saying that this is bad luck with bad breaks with a bad schedule, all of it mixing together to come against them?
I could see what teams typically do, and I'm sure there were some coping Knicks fans a year ago who were like, we're better than the Pacers. Just give us another year.
Yeah, but you would have called them silly.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And if Tyrese Halliburton wouldn't have got hurt, maybe they were better, but I still think you have to look at it in what it is. And there's plenty of teams that go, well, we're better, and you just never hear of them again.
Yeah, I am used to teams saying delusional things to make themselves feel better, but I know that Dan Gilbert would not accept.
I'm a Browns fan. You're a Browns fan, yeah.
Dan Gilbert doesn't strike me as somebody who would ever accept that, so it got me into really, really thinking about what conversations Dan is having with Kobe Altman behind the scenes about what's next for the Cavs. I would be stunned if they're just bringing back this team. I would be stunned. Like, we know, okay, the first order of business is James Harden's going to tear up his option, and then they're going to, sign him to a 2-year deal that will get them under the cap, that will allow them to start to make their moves. And then we'll see how different this team is going to be. You asked me a question, though, about the coach and whether I thought he deserved to be fired. And I said not necessarily so. And I know it sounds like a cop-out answer, but here's what I'm getting at. If the minute the season ends...
I don't think it's cop-out at all.
No, it's not really just the minute the season ends. When they were having trouble in the Toronto series, I listed and we went on air and then I tweeted all these things I think are wrong with the roster. And I've talked about how they're the one team that has 2 big men that neither you really have to guard on the perimeter. All right, that screws up spacing. So all the screen and roll stuff that you're doing with Donovan Mitchell and James Harden's not going to be as effective as it is in a regular season because teams are more dialed in. And then, oh, by the way, you have no wings. This is like year 5 of the Cavs not having real wings. Your only real wing from size-wise and then ability-wise is Dean Wade, and he offered you nothing offensively except he could maybe make a couple open threes, maybe chase down a couple offensive rebounds. Then Max Strus is your one hustling guy, but he's undersized and did enough boneheaded things throughout the playoffs to make you realize, like, he's not a real wing either. So you have all these roster deficiencies. So how can I acknowledge all of that and then say, coach needs to be fired? That'll get cleaned up with the next coach. Like, no, just hiring the next coach is not going to cover up all those things.
So what you're saying is that they basically kept you're not saying it. I'll go ahead and say it. They just kept their chief excuse maker. Because this is just a litany of excuses. Well, we're the better team. Analytically, Analytically, we would have won the series. The schedule's bad. Like, there's so many different things that are said. It's like, well, you guys are just making excuses. Like, it would have been easier to take had they had kept Kenny Atkinson and they'd been talking tough this entire time going, this is unacceptable. It was an unacceptable series. It's an unacceptable performance to be up by 22. Like, they blame the luck when they were down when they lost the 22-point lead. Kenny Atkinson blamed luck. Like, yeah, there's a little bit of stuff that's unlucky in there. I'll grant you that. But my God, the moment that you stopped actually coaching, the moment that you just kind of went along for the ride is when you lost that game.
Yeah,
the moment when you lost the use it or lose it, like that's where you lose that game.
Yeah, we've been over all that. But I'm thinking about Dan Gilbert in all of this.
Yes.
I'm not thinking about, as much, the excuse making. Like, we've been over that. My thing is, why would Dan be okay? Someone who spares no expense. It would not be anything for Dan to say goodbye. Another contract situation where he's paying a coach 2 years down the road. He wouldn't care. Why do you think Dan Gilbert, at this moment in time,
2 reasons,
would sit there and be okay with you? You called him like the chief excuse maker. Why would Dan be okay with that? And I can come up with one reason.
I have 2 reasons. I want to hear your reason first before I use both of mine.
I think there are going to be massive changes to the roster, and I think they want to give Kenny Atkinson a team that they think he can coach and not have to make as many excuses for, not have to cover up the shortcomings. And he's keeping Kobe Altman too. So Kobe, to me, clearly has presented a pathway.
What are the massive changes?
Well, the one is obvious, right? Like, it's LeBron.
All right.
But the other...
Anytime that's him, that's a massive change. But when you say massive change, like maybe... I'm looking at LeBron not as a massive change, but it's like, all right, that's a conversation we're going to have no matter what. Massive changes is going to be like 4 different guys in your core 4 playing for your team. That's to me like massive changes.
Well,
or you only hold on to one.
Oh, I think they're. I mean, you can start listing them. I think Max Strus could be gone. I think Sam Merrill could be gone. I think Dean Wade could be gone. I don't think anybody sees that
as massive.
But would they think Evan Mobley being traded is a massive change?
Evan Mobley would be a massive change, yes.
And
that's where you're starting to get to it.
And obviously, it's something we're going to talk about every day until we hear otherwise. But it's going and getting a guy that has been a champion and has been a top 3 player in the league, or at least a top 3 MVP candidate for like 10 straight years. That's Giannis.
This Harden
that would be a massive change.
This Harden thing. Well, we're having Joe Vardon on at 8:20 this morning. Did he say we're not in on Giannis?
Yet. Yeah, he put the caveat yet.
Why not yet? If we're not in on Giannis, what are we waiting on?
No. Not just like they have to. The ground has to solidify here. The season's not even over. You got 3 teams that are left playing for a champampionship, and the dust.
Are there
still
tampering
needs to
rules that we have to deal with here
in the NBA? No such thing.
Okay, my 2 reasons were, one, you hear the stories, you read the stories, you hear the rumors. He hired him. Dan hired him, Kenny Atkinson. So he wants that to work out. And the second thing is I think, and this goes against what you were saying, I thought he lived in reality. Like, I don't know. With James Harden basically taking a discount to free them up, that frees them up to make a bunch of trades. So it kind of goes along with what you're saying. But it's like, hey, man, you're not going to just blow this thing up and we're going to go back to draft pick land and that's it. Like, there was a time, I think, if Dan Gilbert, with the old CBA, I think he would have toyed with the notion of this isn't working, let's blow this thing up. We're getting rid of these guys, so we're going to get some picks back. I don't think that would work anymore, and I think he knows that. So I think he's trying to live in reality here. What's best? Well, what's best is still the same. You're going to have malaise. You are definitely going to have a fan base that's kind of apathetic as this season starts up next year, but there's still going to be a fan. They're still going to have a baseline of, depending on what they do, 50 wins. So you're still a competitive team. How competitive are you? Well, I guess we have to wait until next spring to find out, because that's all it is now. The season is no longer 82 games. The season is what you do, and the season isn't going to start, and this is going to upset you and annoy you. Season ain't going to start till April. Season doesn't start, I mean, we have a whole, basically a year until the basketball season starts again for Cavs fans, unless you do make those changes, because you're going to be watching. If they were to make a change with Giannis, you're going to be watching him like a hawk. LeBron, same thing. LeBron comes with a different set of circumstances.
The minute you trade for LeBron, the regular season means something totally different. And not that the games are going to be life or death. The experiences, the swan song, and I know that none of that has anything to do with winning a championship. So there will be an element of the fans that won't care. But it's LeBron in Cleveland. Like, that's going
You
to...
want to go out on top.
Yeah, but whether they were 0-82 and they were mired in, getting ready for the lottery, fans would absolutely care. I don't care what anybody says. Like, seeing LeBron, your chance to bring the kids, your grandkids to the last LeBron game that you'll ever get a chance to see him, like, that'll play all year. Like, whether the people that only care about winning championships, they want to dismiss that. Like, that is a big deal. I saw Kobe's swan song. Like, it was a big deal in every city.
Yeah, you made a big deal going to see. I remember that.
And obviously in L.A., people cherish that stuff. So you can't just wave a wand to dismiss that and say, but that has nothing to do with winning a championship. Obviously, the minute they get LeBron, that would make the season, every game that he would suit up would be a big deal.
Are you fine with Kenny coming back, or do you think that this is a mistake?
I'm a little, I got to be honest, I'm a little nervous about it. Especially, like, if they did the opposite of what I'm talking about this entire segment. Like, if they just brought Kenny back and the whole sale job is, hey, we need to get these guys in camp together. I don't think, they might be able to shore up some defensive rotations. In the end, they still have, the anatomy of their team is still flawed.
I mean, I think you have to prepare for that. That is the very lowest level of, if you can try to make these moves, you got to get other people to work with you on this. You don't have many assets. Sure. You do not have many assets. You don't have many controllable assets.
Evan Mobley is a big time asset. That is big wiggle room that they do have, and then getting under the salary threshold.
It is, but you have to have a team that now you're going to have a team. This is going to be an interesting part of this offseason. We're going to find out exactly, and we probably wouldn't find out until too late, till trade was consummated, how much teams actually value Evan Mobley compared to where the fans are. Because I think the fans are annoyed. I think they're frustrated. I think that they're a little annoyed at us. I think they're a little annoyed at me for making out a guy to be a little bit more than what he is. And I know he's still 24, so there's still room to grow. But if he were that special of a player, I think he would have already taken off. He is a good player. He's a very good player. Upper echelon. He's an all-star. Is he one of the special ones? No, I don't think so. And I think that Cavs fans were kind of banking on that, and they heard us, and I think that made them bank on that. So now we're going to find out here, because you're right. Evan is a great asset. But a team like Milwaukee, will they want Evan and picks? Do they want picks? Do you get a third team involved? There's a lot of things that have to happen there. And then how valuable is Evan? Because I think to a lot of Cavs fans, fine. I don't know if he's this ace in the hole. Because if he is this ace in a hole, people are going, well, he's 24 years old. Why don't we just keep him? 216-474-0092.
Because he's not on Donovan's window.
So are you okay with Kenny coming back, or is this a giant mistake? Is this the first of the mistakes that you're hearing about? 216-474-0092. Also at 643, Miles' conversation ain't going anywhere, guys. We might as well face it head on. And that's not me talking. That's Albert Breer. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on The Fan. American Platinum Door and Gate, AP.
winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-MY-RESET. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio.
As you make your way into downtown Cleveland on this Wednesday morning, so far so good. Let's try and keep it that way. Jeff Thomas, Odyssey Cleveland Traffic.
Dan Gilbert will have some tough choices to make over the summer. Don't miss a beat of the Cavs offseason. Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
We'll get back to the Cavs here in a moment also. There's more Miles stuff going on at 643. It's a conversation that just will not go away. I'm not going to sit there and deny it and act like it doesn't exist anymore. We'll talk more about that coming up at 643. According to Jeff Passan, ESPN, Travis Kelce is buying a minority stake in the Cleveland Guardians. Says, quote, I have so much love for the city. I credit every good thing in my life to Cleveland. And it's more on, he put more on ESPN.com. Lucky enough to have a front row seat to good ownership in my career. And I know the best teams prioritize culture. Everyone is there to play their role. And right now, I'm here to observe and learn and to really support the team and the city when and where I can. Kelsey's 36, latest active professional athlete to acquire equity stake in an MLB team. LeBron actually has a stake in the Red Sox. Giannis with the Brewers. Cade Cunningham with the Rangers. I did not know that as well. And Patrick Mahomes obviously has a stake in the Kansas City Royals. Travis Kelce, minority partner of the Cleveland Guardians. Thoughts? Because my mind automatically went to a pretty crazy place right there.
Oh, what was that?
Well, I immediately Googled how much did Taylor Swift make on the Eras Tour, which was, according to AI on Google, which is never wrong, it said it brought in $2.07 billion. So that, to me, then turned back around, and it said she personally cleared over $500 million. And so then, of course, my brain, with how it works, goes, all right, on her next tour, how much could that make for her? Now, there's always going to be a law of diminishing returns, so you got to wait a while before you go on your next tour. You can't just keep going and going and going and going and going. If she waits a while and say, like, she's like 2030, has new album, going on tour. I don't know much about Taylor Swift, guys, so carry me through this. Any women out there, any guys who like Taylor Swift? I know there's a basketball writer who loves Taylor Swift. He won't talk to me, though, so he ain't going to call in. Anyone with daughters? Anybody can help me with this? I thought it was pretty sane to think of, okay, the year's 2030. If she's making $500 million on another tour, how much can she break off for Guardians payroll? Would that mean that she could be, or he, them as a married couple? Because, you know, what's ours is ours. Does that mean that they could take a bigger stake and then by that time David Blitzer's baseball team? Could they do something like that? Could they add to the payroll of the Cleveland Guardians as well?
I just thought this was like an Usher thing. Like, I'm buying 1% of the team. You know what? $16 million.
Anthony,
what's that?
It more than likely is. Can I just dare to dream for a moment? Am I allowed to?
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
Well, you just dump on everything, aren't you? You just Eeyore.
But wait, you're pushing the Blitzers out already? Or
no, I'm not pushing the Blitzers out. I'm saying is if they own a 1% stake, all right, well, what if I throw $100 million into payroll this year? What percent stake can I get then?
Like, could it be called the Closers Tour, and then it pays for the top closer in the league?
Well, Kate Smith's not doing bad. It was a little bit of a rough start.
You said 2030, Ken.
Well, yeah, 2030. By that time, you're probably looking for a new closer. I mean, they don't just fall off trees. I think you're right about that. Good call. Good call. I can't say he's going to be the next Trevor Huffman or Mariano Rivera.
What would Cleveland sports fans have rather had if it was like an either-or situation? Would it have been him purchasing a minority stake or like finishing his career as the tight end of the Browns?
Minority stake.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I think they'd love to see him play tight end for the Browns.
No, minority stake.
What? I don't think a minority stake means there's going to be like an infusion of a ton of new cash into payroll.
It can't hurt, can it?
I just think they thought it'd be really cool to see the Cleveland Heights kid play for the Browns.
At 36, he would be 37 next year.
Yeah.
Instead of having a minority stake of the Cleveland Guardians?
Well, I don't think fans see any tangible benefit out of that. I don't think they'll other than you'll see Travis in a couple games a year.
There's a better chance to see a tangible benefit of him being a minority owner of the Cleveland Guardians than playing tight end for the Cleveland Browns.
What's the big benefit?
What I just said. I mean, now that's a pie-in-the-sky idea, but being able to invest something into it. I mean, you remember, who was it, John Sherman? John Sherman invested money into this ball club. That's the last time they spent, quote-unquote, spent a reasonable amount of money for everybody.
Yeah, but
when he was involved in the ball club. Why can't I do the same? Why can't I deduce the same thing with Taylor Swift? Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Was it what was Sherman's stake in the team? Wasn't it like 10%?
I think it was 10%.
I don't think you're coming anywhere near that.
That's what the report
for
was.
Travis.
Well, wait a minute.
I don't think Travis is putting $160 million
how much
into
breakdown? What's David Blitzer's other teams? What are the breakdown of the percentages of that? Where's John at?
Well,
he loves to look up stuff like that.
He's part of a group with those teams.
There's a group there. So how much does he own with the other teams? How much do the other ones contribute then? But there's way more of a tangible benefit of him being a part owner of the. We got tight end fine. I mean, Harold Fannin Jr.'s fine.
The reason I say this,
we'll see where else they go with the position.
I guess it's because I've seen too many of these. Like Bill Maher had a minority stake in the Mets, and they asked him what was that all about. He's like, free parking, season tickets. Like that was the
access to a suite.
Yeah,
easier.
access to the suite. Like
Bill Maher is not the greatest. Is not. Excuse me. Bill Maher is not not even arguable. One of the greatest pop stars of all time's husband. Bill Maher is a successful television show host. He ain't got Taylor Swift money. Travis Kelce's got Taylor Swift money. Well, I don't know I'm sure there will be a prenup of some sort. But I mean, he's the one who's got Taylor Swift money. Like I'm not allowed to dream. I think
you're assuming this is more than just a 1% stake. You're acting like this is like a quarter share.
I don't know what it is. It probably is a 1% stake. I'm answering your question. You asked me what has a better chance for something tangible, and I'm saying that him being a minority partner of the Cleveland Guardians, being married to the most famous pop star in the world, the richest pop star in the world, would have a better benefit than him at 37 years old with the Browns in 2027 with probably a rookie quarterback giving me 400 yards receiving. And his final year?
It's just the Cleveland story. How many years have people fawned over the hopes of something like that?
This is a Cleveland story.
But you're not going to see Travis like suit up for the Guardians.
No, but you're going to see
catcher.
But you're going to see
Travis.
He
played baseball at some point.
But you're going to see Travis Kelce around the team at some point. This is, I mean, what's the one argument?
But what do the fans get out of that? What do they actually?
I think they get a little bit. First off, they get the cachet. If Travis is there, there's no use telling who else is going to be there. Hint, hint, because his wife is way more famous than he is. The other thing of it is that what's the one argument we've been able to make on Paul Dolan's behalf throughout all of it is that he's a Cleveland guy committed to keeping the team in Cleveland. Well, if he's a Cleveland guy committed to it, we got just one more Cleveland guy making sure we're doing right by Cleveland. I'm sure it's not a big stake, but when you're asking me what has the better tangible chance of some sort of return, it's got to be him being a partial owner.
This story from Jeff Passan says he was brought into it by Blitzer. Blitzer's the one that brought it.
There you go. So
did he buy a percentage of Blitzer's already bought percentage?
Look at what
is it a timeshare?
Yeah, right. Well, a lot of these.
Where's he going to end up for buying that timeshare?
Well, no, you go.
If he sells it,
you
Blitzer,
sell him.
Sorry, bud.
According to the ad,
news for you.
Exactly. If you sell him, that's a bad news for you, according to the man. However, if you buy him, well, then, not a bad idea.
So you think they'll have like more Taylor Swift nights?
I don't know.
At least rock and blast.
Is that how marriages work? Like, are you responsible for, like, your partner? Are you pressuring your partner into showing up to stuff on an investment you made? Because he has his own money. I mean, he's been able to make, he doesn't need to dip into her money.
If Sarah opened up Sarah's running shop, you're going to be there opening night.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you're definitely emceeing the opening of Sarah's shoes.
I imagine there may be a day, maybe Taylor Swift sings the national anthem.
Ooh, that would be nice because Usher famously never sang the national anthem at any of the Cavs games.
It's a hard song to sing.
Famously. We all were waiting in the finals like, is this going to be an Usher? Nope. Usher just stood there courtside, refused to sing.
If he doesn't have confidence in singing that song, it's a hard-ass song
I think he just wanted, hey, you got to pay me more.
I was at the, wait a minute.
Cut me in more. Yeah.
Oh, well, you're part owner of the team. You're getting the return on investment. If you can sing the song, get on out there and sing it.
This was hilarious to me. Usher's right there courtside.
I do think this means the next time she goes on tour, Progressive Field, book it.
Oh, my gosh.
It's too small.
I know.
It's too small for her.
They are playing baseball stadiums now, these tours, as opposed to football stadiums.
Oh, you think she's going to dwindle in popularity and she's going to have to downsize?
Elton John just played there a couple of years ago. Ruined
the
outfield.
When she's 60.
But I don't think that. I think Owen's right, though. I think if they have a Cleveland tour stop, it's going to be like, listen, my husband is part owner of the minority stake owner of the Guardians. We got to do it.
We will have a dome at that time.
Yeah, we got to have it at Progressive Field. We will have a dome at that time, but I'm sure they're going to be like, well, too bad, so sad. He's part owner of the Guardians. We're going to do it at Progressive Field. I mean, they're business people. I mean, you're the one who famously told me the story about her dad when she first started, like when she first got her rise, bought the
fleet.
The fleet.
Yeah, all the
and then
tour
leased
buses.
it out back to him so they get that's strong business. It's an idea I would never have the foresight to have. That's why I'm doing this. 216-474. You really would rather have him play for the Browns?
I'd love to see him for the Browns. I don't even care if he were half the player. Just be really cool to see Travis Kelce
and not have any minority stake in the Guardians or anybody else.
I don't think you're going to see that much out of these. There's just been so many athletes that get like 1% or half of a percent of a team, and then you forget, and then you hear 2 years later, oh yeah, they sold it. They don't even own it anymore. They realize the investment wasn't even that good.
I understand, but when you have, are they married to the most famous and powerful pop singer in the world? They are not. So I dare to dream. 216-474-0092. I love how you just you nod your head at me. Like they're not watching on YouTube right now. If you just nod your head at me, you're just so dismissive about it. You're like, whatever, Kenny. Yeah, go ahead and play your little games. Okay, fine.
No, it's fine. That'd be awesome if Taylor showed up stuff. You saw how big of a deal it was when she came to the Cavs game. There were people that basically ignored, and rightfully so, they ignored the first 10 minutes of the third quarter. Anybody that had the bracelets to be downstairs, they just wanted to sit there and take pictures of Taylor. I thought it was hilarious.
He ignored most of the series.
Oh, that was the problem. He wanted to see Taylor Swift, and that was it. He was just like, well, I don't know what I'm doing now. Coming up in 5 minutes, the Miles conversation ain't going anywhere, guys. And according to Albert Breer, we might as well face it head on. Folks, I think we have dueling insiders. We'll hear from we'll hear from Albert and Mary Kay Cabot coming up in 5 on The Fan.
XTENDAV.com.
Make the afternoon drive your soundtrack on the way into the Guardians games. And talk about the game on your way home on overtime. The best Guardians coverage is right here on Cleveland's Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
.20 this morning, Joe Varden, senior NBA writer for The Athletic, going to join us on the show. He says, we are not in on Giannis yet. And my answer is, if not, why not? But Albert Breer was on Afternoon Drive yesterday. I can't act like I'm going to sit here and ignore this story anymore. It's impossible. They asked Albert Breer about Myles Garrett yesterday, and is this the time to trade Myles Garrett? Here's what Albert had to say.
I actually agree with some of the reason to do it. After June 1st, it becomes easier. On top of there being a new coaching staff there and the team being in the middle of a youth movement, I think that things are TBD until you hear otherwise. That could be next week. That could be the trade deadline. I just think when you're talking about after 6 years of Kevin Stefanski being in charge there, after a bunch of years of Jim Schwartz running the defense, and after doing what the Browns have done the last couple of years to try to stock the team with young talent and get younger all over the place, this does feel like the type of time when you would entertain that type of thought.
So what he says makes a lot of sense. I still stand by, I don't believe that they're going to do it for a litany of reasons, but I won't deny what makes sense and just sit there and dig my head in the sand and say, well, yeah, you can't do it. Because, as he says, you can get a really big haul for Myles Garrett after June 1st.
Look at what Khalil Mack went for. Look at what that price was. And I think you would be looking for that sort of return for Myles Garrett. And if you wait a year or two, now look what Von Miller got traded for when the Broncos traded him to the Rams. And I think the Broncos probably waited a little too long. Now, the Broncos still got a decent return for Von Miller, but it certainly wasn't the same as what they would have gotten if they had traded him a year or two earlier. To me, that makes his age a very relevant factor here. I still think you can get a huge haul for him. If you don't do it now, and you're not taking a really hard look at it now, you risk in a year or two, when maybe your team is really ready to win, getting a lot less for him. So that's what Andrew Berry has to consider if people are going to come along and make offers. This isn't a player you even have to shop. You know what I mean? Teams are going to show their interest in a guy like that.
If you were listening at 6:37, I might have painted this wrong for everybody because I made it out to be dueling insiders. It's not that Albert's saying he's going to be traded. He's giving you reasons why it makes sense that he should be traded, is what Albert's saying. Mary Kay Cabot, she was on Baskin and Phelps yesterday, and short of slamming the table, which is something I would do. Sadly, I don't like to slam the table because it messes up the cameras in here now when you watch us on YouTube Live for absolutely free. Mary Kay Cabot on Baskin and Phelps emphatically saying that Myles Garrett is not going to get traded.
No, I just don't see that, and I've been consistently saying that, reporting that. I just don't think so. I know a lot of people read a lot into Todd Monken's very terse no when asked if he's met Myles yet last week at the OTAs, but I still don't think that there's anything to it. I just don't. I'm not feeling it. I really do still hold true to what Andrew said when he told us last month or whatever month it was at the owners' meetings that he believes that Myles is a career Brown, and I don't think they have any intentions of trading him, at least certainly not this offseason.
So I bring this up because last winter, Mary Kay knows something about Myles. I know a lot of people, every time we talk to Mary Kay, we talk about Mary Kay. I know Twitter is going to go off and go nuts. There's something about Myles she knows about. Because I remember last winter, before they signed that contract, 2 winters ago, Lima, I was turning off the mic and looking at you going, I think she's nuts. I think she's nuts. I think she's lying to herself. This guy's gone. He's doing a radio tour. He says he wants to be on a contender, and then what ended up happening? Mary Kay ended up being right. And there's been several instances, that's to me the most extreme one. There have been several instances where I've kind of turned off the mic and given you a side eye during a Mary Kay answer, and sure as hell, she ends up being right about it. And so they're at a weird spot because if you have this young talent, if you let him go, you're going to get a haul. And later on in that interview, Albert names names. Of course, there's Dallas that would be involved. The Rams make a sense. The Eagles are always a team that's lurking. And I think that Albert's right, by the way, because the second it was asked, it's like the Browns are going to go out on June 2nd. I don't think they're going to go out on June 2nd and go, all right, we're going to make them available. Give us your best offers. I think there's probably been some conversations and some offers out there. And I think that maybe Andrew would look at one of these teams and go, you have the inside track. Give me the very best of what you can give me before we do anything else, because there's definitely going to be other teams that are going to be involved in this, but they're going to keep this quiet. I definitely think there's I definitely think there has been phone calls made, because there's phone calls made on everybody. But this is major stuff. This is 2, maybe even 3 first-round picks over time. Definitely 2 first-round picks, and then more seconds, more thirds, things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're going to get a lot for Myles Garrett. It makes sense long-term. It does. But when you're the Browns, you still have young players. You're going to tell them that this season doesn't matter. You were going to tell them straight out that this season is when you trade Myles Garrett in June, before we're getting ready for a mini camp, like, yeah, you'll try to circle the wagons. It's such a gut punch to the current team. And now you're going to have to go through the season, and then you're going to have to find the guy, because you're telling the world here you think nothing of your quarterbacks. This is an indictment on your quarterback room if you make this trade. This is
although the Cowboys made a blockbuster,
but they
huge
had
deal
Dak.
with Parker.
They had Dak.
But
they had a veteran.
But that didn't mean that they didn't have a quarterback that they made that trade.
But why are you trading Myles Garrett now? You're trading Myles Garrett for the 2027 draft.
To start to align your windows, right? Like they've got so many young players. They had so many young players last year, and now you're infusing basically the entire team is going to be young,
but
with the exception of maybe
Anthony,
Denzel Ward. And who knows? Maybe that's fodder for a trade by the deadline.
Caleb Williams, they went out and got people for Caleb Williams. So, they went out and got people for Patrick Mahomes. They went out and got people for young quarterbacks. This is taking away the player of the entire franchise defensively from your entire quarterback room. You're telling everybody what you think of what you think of the quarterback room, whether you like it or not, whether they like it or not. That's what they're doing. They're punting on this season when you trade that guy, and then we're just getting ready for 2027. So you're taking Browns fans' eyes off your own team and making them pay attention to Saturdays instead of Sundays, and just already starting this roll, this chant for Moore or Manning or whoever it may be. We'll talk about Sorsby coming up at 7. That was very interesting. But that's the ramifications, what you're doing. Are you okay with that? Are you okay and secure enough with Todd Monken at 60 to go, hey, this is a tough do it here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to make this move, but you're going to be just safe. I don't know if I buy all that.
Look, I totally buy it. To me, it never made sense to have an aging, on the other side of 30, dominant pass rusher, and then the rest of your team is young and no quarterback. Like, what sense does that really make? You in every avenue. If you were doing national radio or TV or podcasting, you would be saying...
But I never said it didn't make sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, you would be saying every day, like, why are they wasting Myles Garrett's prime? We're never going to get to see him play for a Super Bowl. We're never going to get to see the premier defensive player of the era, have a chance to do big things in the playoffs.
Can I also recognize that he did sign a long-term contract just last year, even though he threw out that he wanted to be traded to a contender? Or is that just something I would say because I'm Kenny in Cleveland and I have my head in the sand is what you're insinuating?
What, you're saying that because he should be like loyal to the contract?
No. I'm not saying he should be loyal to the contract, but I'm going, if we believe that he's in this mess and he needs saved from this bad situation, he had a chance to save himself from this situation just last year. He could have held firm and got everything he wanted. He could have gotten a huge contract and got paid. Now, I say that as soon as the words come out of my mouth, he could just get traded and get another contract.
Yeah, that's what would happen.
And that's probably what would happen.
He would be the highest paid again.
So no matter what he does, because he's so damn good, he can do whatever he wants. That's why it's never been a big deal that he doesn't come to the OTAs.
If I'm Myles Garrett, and do you believe that the Browns gave him their plan of attack a year ago? Remember, that was the big story, that once he made the rounds and did the Super Bowl, Radio Row and all that the Browns comforted him.
I don't.
So it was just the contract.
I think he was trying to be.
You think he needed to do all that just to get the contract, though?
I think he was trying to.
He should have just gotten the contract. He shouldn't have had to do anything to do that.
When you sit there and tell people that it's about competition, nobody wants to admit it's about money. This is the old adage. And when you're telling everybody it's about being on a competitive team and then you sign a massive contract and you're doing interviews right after.
But so were the Browns playing hardball with him over that contract that he needed to go public and humiliate the team the way he did?
I think he agreed to do an interview. He was asked about what they have up their sleeve at quarterback, and I think he acted coy. I don't think he knew what they were going to do at quarterback. I don't think any of us did. No. I don't think they told him anything. How can you guarantee him anything of what they were going to do at QB at that time? You couldn't guarantee him any of that stuff. You could say you're going to go after every single person out there. It just doesn't mean you're going to be able to get them.
Yeah, I guess what I'm at, because you're making it sound like that was all last year. Everything he did PR wise, even to take the hit with a lot of fans who, for some fans, he'll never be able to beat that rep. I'm not saying it's a sizable portion of the fan base because he came out and fans were adoring him as he set the sack record. But did he need to do all that to get the Browns to responsibly pay him?
No. All he had to do was do what he did.
So why do you think he did that?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why I agreed to any interview, Anthony.
I guess what I'm getting.
You're trying to get me. You're trying to get me to explain the actions and the thoughts of a guy who you can't really explain it. He keeps everything to himself.
Yeah.
I'm not in his head.
Well, the reason I asked the question is it crazy to think that behind the scenes he wants out again?
It's not crazy to think that. No. Why would it be crazy?
And if that's the case, like, is it shocking that they redid his contract, that he hasn't been back with the team, he hasn't met with anybody since all the new hires and the new staff members, and to the point where even the national guys now, like Peter Schrager and Albert Breer, like, it is kind of strange that he hasn't been back with the team.
Can I throw another one with you with 20 seconds left? Would you be surprised if he just signed another extension with the Browns?
That could be.
That's what I'm saying. Why am I having to answer questions about his actions when none of us really know what the guy's thinking?
Why wouldn't they have just already done that? Like, what's the way he's earned it?
Do they have to wait till after June 2nd? I'm not trying to be obtuse. I'm not trying to be difficult. I don't know the capology there. I don't know all the machinations.
It's just, there's no doubt, like, he's earned to be the highest paid player that's non-quarterback and probably higher than most of the quarterbacks. He's earned that already. And it seems like the Browns would have no problem paying it, right? Remember, they're the team with the cash, the liquid cash flow that should be able to do that, not hamper the salary cap.
Mm-hmm. Are you warming to the idea of trading Miles? And also, if we keep this conversation up, something is going to happen here. I'll explain what that is in 5 minutes. And, boy, I tell you, if you're going to trade Myles Garrett, what's the point of playing Deshaun Watson? I'll explain that as well at 7:01 on The Fan. Friends, Ken Carman here for Northeast Ohio Fence and Deck. NEOFence.com. It is.
to this game or they showed up for like a quarter, then we're like, I don't really want to do this. I can't be mad at them because half of the Cavs fans, the wine and cheese crowd, did the same thing.
The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Are we aiming our vitriol at the wrong guy? Tim Legler has an interesting case to be made. Not vitriol, but it's like we're aiming who to get rid of at the wrong guy. Maybe Kenny Atkinson, we're looking in the wrong direction. Barking up the wrong tree, Tone. Maybe we're doing that. More on that coming up at 7:20 this morning. Also, Travis Kelce, as the Guardians have confirmed it, he bought a stake in the Cleveland Guardians. We don't know how much exactly, which led to a debate that's raging online. Our buddy Ben Axelrod, I believe of Front Office Sports, he caught wind of it. And he threw it out there. Yes, Front Office Sports, he threw it out there. So a lot of people are voting. Of course, a lot of people are voting for neither. Because you said what would have more of a tangible return for Cleveland fans? Travis Kelce playing his last season for the Cleveland Browns or being a minority owner for the Cleveland Guardians. And I bet when they read it online, they're going to think they know what side I took. I'll tell you what side I took coming up at 8 o'clock on the show. 216-474-0092. All right. I want to bring this up when it comes to the Myles Garrett stuff. We'll get back to the Cavs at 7:20. When it comes to Myles Garrett stuff, it's not going away. All right, and from 30,000 foot view, you are right. If you and I were in Chicago and I was still hosting CBS Sports Radio on the weekends, it's big picture stuff. It would say you're not doing better with him on the field. He's not doing better on the field. It's time to move on. It's time to liquidate the asset. And when Albert goes deeper into context, I mean, it's a great interview with the guys in the afternoon. It was really well done where he's going, hey, he brought up Von Miller. And how Von Miller was towards the end. They could have got a bigger haul. Khalil Mack, maybe the Raiders could have got a bigger haul at the time had they had done this a little bit sooner in a team that really wasn't competitive. All that is very, very true. It's just that I don't think that they're going to do it. It's not that I don't want it to happen. Listen, we've been in this quagmire. You won 5 games last year. You won 3 games the year before. If we got to go to where we got to go and finally cleanse ourselves of this Watson stuff, fine, do it. Because I know I got a good young football team there, and it's tough for me.
Well, we don't know if they're good yet. I mean, we have some young talent.
Well, there's some talent on the team. The sum of the parts, but you still don't think you have a quarterback. So if you still don't think you have a quarterback, then it's really not going to matter. I mean, I've seen a collection of good Browns players go to other teams and end up playing well for teams that had quarterbacks, that had the sum of all the parts together, that didn't
or had better
switch
coaching
through GMs,
or had whatever.
All those things. I think I got some good young players here. Myles is a great older player now. He's 30 years old. So, yeah, you can get a haul back, and from a different point of view, I'd say yes. It's just hard to look guys in the eye and tell them that this season isn't going to matter because you're going to do this. If you did this before the draft, hey, let's circle the wagons. You'll still try to rally everybody, but if it happens post June 2nd, it's going to be a big gut shot to this team and what everybody thinks of this team because you're telling the world exactly what you think this year is going to be, or even if you're getting all those picks back, what you may hope this year is going to be. Sure,
no teams want to trade their best player. But they also have to acknowledge like the ages and the gap in years. Does it ever make sense to have one of the youngest teams in the NFL, which is what they're going to be this year, and then the 30-year-old dominant defensive pass rusher? Does it when you could, continue to accrue? Like we've all admitted, the only way out of this for the Browns is to draft their way out of it. You're not going to do it in free agency. Mm-hmm. And you're most likely, you can only do so much when it comes to trades because what do most teams not want to do? Trade their good players. No. So it's always going to be in the draft. And the best way to do that, because we all acknowledge, even the best GMs, there's a high bust potential. Even for the best GMs, in the opening 2 rounds, well, the best way is to get the most amount of first-round picks that you possibly can over time. I mean, that's unfortunately the reality of it, and the Browns have been trying to get out of this hole for so many decades.
Brings me to a second thing. They trade Myles Garrett. What do you expect for the season?
Yeah, not good.
Okay, so what's the point of playing Deshaun Watson then? To me, it reopens the conversation of quarterback and who starts a quarterback. Now, if Shador isn't ready to go, then that's a different conversation. Maybe he just wouldn't be ready to go. But if we're trading away Myles Garrett in this scenario and you're getting draft picks back, I don't want to hear nothing about Deshaun Watson. I really don't want Deshaun Watson to play. I'm already begrudgingly going, yeah, it's Todd's call. He's the veteran. It makes sense, this, that, and the other. I think everybody knows. I think your quarterback is playing college this year right now. I think the future of your franchise is in college somewhere within about 5 teams right now, and maybe even in the supplemental draft, but that's a conversation we'll have later in the show. But, man, I'm going to kick the tires on Shedeur. I don't need to do the Deshaun Watson thing. So you're going to trade Myles Garrett, which is going to make the fans upset. And I understand they'll think big picture probably and eventually warm to the idea. You're going to make the fans upset by trading away Myles Garrett, and then you're going to turn right around and start Deshaun Watson? Like, no. They might talk themselves into thinking they have a chance, but I think a lot of people know where they stand.
So even if like they think and Todd Monken thinks it's totally clear that Deshaun understands the playbook better, can do more, has more tools, has more physical tools even after all the injuries, and he's able to demonstrate it in front of Todd when they're doing the OTAs.
Todd's a real nice
guy. Then up into the training camp. Like, are you not going to listen to the coach? Are you going to think organizationally?
I'll listen to every single word, because eventually if Shedeur goes in there and he plays with any modicum of success, I'm going to say you wasted all that time on the guy that nobody wanted to see. Nobody really wants to see him. I mean, there's always going to be a minority of people out there that want to see anything, but nobody wants to see this guy. And so you're either, to me, if you do make this trade, if you were to make a trade with Myles Garrett, I'm done with the whole Deshaun Watson conversation. I'm really looking forward to it. You guys want to do it from big picture? Let's do it from big picture. Because Deshaun Watson, I don't think, again, he wants to be here. I'll pull the string on what I say all the time. I don't think he wants to be here. I don't think Browns fans really want him here. I don't think Browns fans think he's really that good. So what am I investing in? Nothing, except anything in the past, and all that is bad memories and ugly arguments. With Shedeur, there's no ugly memories. No, there's no ugly arguments. We'll just go ahead. Well, there are some ugly arguments on the internet, but in real life with all of us and everybody, it's like, hey, let's see if he can do it, and if he can't, fine. Throw another name on the back of the jersey, and I'll see you at the draft. No harm, no foul. No harm, no foul. With Deshaun Watson, there's always something that comes with it where there's some sort of little fine print that we didn't actually read, and now we have to deal with this, and I'm done with that. So if you want to keep Myles Garrett, fine. You want to compete. You believe you can be competitive. If you want to play the veteran and think that he's more ready to win week 1, fine. But once you trade away Myles Garrett, you're telling the world what you stand for, and then I'm more interested in seeing Shedeur Sanders. I definitely think I'd change every opinion of what I've had if there were to be a Myles Garrett trade, of every opinion of what I've had about that quarterback start.
Yeah, I wonder, like, we keep talking about the messaging. What's the message of trading Myles Garrett? What is the messaging in this hypothetical, this theoretical, to the team, to those, to everybody?
By trading Myles?
No, by starting the guy that in their eyes might not be as good as the other guy. Like, you always wonder. We've had so many guys come in, some former players, and they're like, no, you can't start the guy that's not better. You got to start the guy that's better, because that sends shockwaves to the locker room.
But you don't trade the guy that's better. That sends shockwaves to the locker room. You don't trade the best that's ever done it.
But if that's already done in the spirit of this argument.
So why don't we go even further with it? If we all intend on what this season's, I mean, again, if they trade Myles Garrett, am I getting through? Like, you can try to lie to yourselves all you want, fine, but you're just wasting more time with Deshaun Watson. You're more than welcome to go lie to yourselves and say, well, because this is what would happen. If you were to trade Myles, from what Albert Breer and Schrager and all these other guys are bringing up, right? If you do trade Myles, there will be a blowback from your fans. And then we'll see the picks, and we'll go, well, he didn't really want to be here last year. He wouldn't be here this year. And then you would probably start to say, well, he wasn't. I mean, all the signs were there, Ken. You didn't want to see it. He didn't talk to Todd. He didn't come into the building, all this, that, and the other. He was ready to go, fine. But if he's ready to go and you're still trading the guy and you're still letting go of the biggest piece of your franchise there, you are not ready to compete now. You are admitting you're not ready to compete. You're going to turn around and be a great team with Deshaun Watson as a starting quarterback who hasn't played well in 6 years. I mean, that's a pretty... Yeah. If we're talking about far-fetched ideas, that's about as far-fetched as I can think of. That a guy who hasn't played well in 6 years all of a sudden going to turn it on and light up the NFL and be the comeback story of the year with a team that thought that they were dead in the water by trading away their greatest defensive player that's ever played for them.
Why does everybody think he's got... Why do all the national guys seem to think, and why does it seem like the Browns, they're not really denying the messaging that's out there from the national perspective?
Because he's the veteran, and they're probably getting getting us all ready for him to start.
Right. So why would they be doing that at all, whether or not Miles is here or not? Why is that dependent on if Myles Garrett's traded or not?
I think that they think he's the better quarterback. It's my personal opinion. You could think he's the better one and he's the more ready one as it is. And maybe Shedeur just isn't ready, and I have to accept that. But I'm going to be in the back of my mind. You want to start Deshaun Watson? Fine. But as soon as he goes out there and sucks up the room, and then your defense can't even do it because you've lost 95, because it's hard. 95 makes everybody on that defense better. So if you lose him, you're going to be losing a bunch. It's not, no offense to Alex Wright, no offense to anybody else. They ain't him. And we know that. So it makes their jobs easier when he's buzzing around and playing on defense. When he's no longer on that defense, it's going to make everybody's jobs harder, including that offense, including Deshaun Watson.
But do you think
so
Denzel
then we have to ask
Boston,
ourselves, what do we stand for as a season?
Do you think whether or not Myles Garrett is there or gone, and you're Denzel Boston and Casey Concepcion, and maybe even Harold Fannin, if you are those guys, do you think they care that Garrett leaving should dictate the quarterback? Like, I think that would be confusing to them. I think they would just want the better quarterback.
But I'm either going to be all in or all out. I'm sorry. They're rookies. I can't care right now what Denzel Boston might be a good wide receiver, and so could Casey Concepcion. But I'm saying you're either all in or you're all out. You're either trying to win this year or you're not trying to win this year, because we have that many quarterbacks that are coming out in 2027, Anthony. So that's where I'm at. It's either 100 miles an hour or 0 miles an hour for me.
Yeah,
so
but
you trade Miles,
there's
fine.
a difference.
Just tell everybody what it is.
But there is a big difference between Super Bowl contending, trying to win, and just a bunch of young guys trying to win.
Yeah, there is. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they've hated their team over the last decade.
But for the actual players, like I don't know. Do you think if Denzel Boston and Casey Concepcion, Harold Fannin, and Quinshon Judkins, they wouldn't want Myles Garrett traded, but do you think that changes their perspective on how they go about operating every day?
As far as
just showing up to work, trying to get the most out of their seasons, trying to develop the offense. That's the defense. We're the offense. We can only control what we can control.
I don't think I'm talking big picture. I don't think that matters to me. I don't think I don't think I care.
All right.
I mean, you're asking me a whole lot of questions. This is turning into a deposition. I'm trying to answer them as best I can to give you my thought. Do you think that they should still start Deshaun Watson if they traded Myles Garrett?
I think if Deshaun is definitely better in every area, that's going to be really hard. You're going to start to erode the team from within, starting the wrong guy, quarterback.
If he just shows that he is just more ready and Shedeur is that far behind, okay. But if he goes out there and he sucks, if he's terrible week one, you get ready to pound the drum, Tone.
Yeah.
Get ready to pound the drum, because we're just wasting our time here. 216-474-0092. I'll get to some of you guys on this. And about last night at 7:45, where overnight we have a new minority owner of the Cleveland Guardians. And what would we really accomplish by firing Kenny Atkinson? And maybe we're aiming our vitriol at the wrong guy. Tim Legler has a thought on that. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on The Fan.
It's Anthony.
Todd Monken and some players this afternoon right here on 92.3 The Fan. Can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
So we're on record. I don't want to trade Miles. I think that a team could come in with after June 1st and could come in with a offer I just simply can't refuse. I just know what I'm doing with the football team if I do trade Miles. I know the message I'm sending to everybody. And my answer is if I do trade Miles, to me it does have something to do with the quarterback. It does have something to do with where I go. I don't want to use the T word here, but hey, let's go ahead and let's evaluate. Then we do join the Cardinals. We do join the Dolphins in this. And then if you do trade away Miles and you're getting picks, all right, let's see what Shedeur Sanders can do. I don't need to have this discussion about Deshaun Watson because it isn't tangible. See, if you are trying to compete, trying to win, if you are trying, you can talk yourself into the veteran trying to return to form. It's just so when you trade that guy, it is so hard for me, Anthony, I'm already against the idea. And so it's just impossible for me to go, yeah, he'll get back to where he was 6 years ago.
Well, it's why
6 years. That ain't that long.
I'm with you. It's been so long, and it's been so long since his body, was in good shape. Now it's been breaking down almost every year or other year. He's had massive surgery in the offseason. He's had complications with surgery, when he was on his rehab attempt. We still don't know what happened, even though there was a bunch of conjecture about that. So it's hard to fathom a world where he's anything remotely like the guy we traded for or the guy we thought we were trading for. Given all that, it's why I'm stunned that, let's be honest, the messaging seems to be from Berea that one is definitely ahead of the other. It just seems to be that way. Now, we'll find out. Maybe none of that matters. Maybe now that they're working out in OTAs, maybe there's a shift, and out of nowhere, now Shedeur is number one heading into training camp. Who knows? Doesn't seem like there's a lot of blowback. Like every time there's a Mary Kay story or Ian Rappaport or Albert Breer, the Browns aren't exactly fighting any of that messaging.
I also
which makes you think it's coming from the Browns.
How much do you want to believe? Let me ask you questions now. How do you think that the fans will receive all this?
They'll hate it. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they'll hate a Miles trade.
Do you care? Once you trade Miles, do you care at all what the fans think?
Me, or if I'm running the Browns.
They're not going to like a Miles trade. I mean, if you give me 3 first-round picks back, I think a lot of fans will go, man, that sucks, but we got 3 first-round picks. I think that's what a lot of Browns fans would do. But if you traded away Miles, even for 3 first-round picks, and you go, now we're going to start Deshaun. Oh, got more great news for me here. Do you throw the fans a bone at all? And go, hey, well, let's try to navigate this. We don't think we're going to do very well this year. That's why we traded away Miles. And you know what? Let's go ahead and let's put in the guy who's least more interesting.
Well, it's hard that you
say. Or is that just crazy
talk?
Well,
you say throw the fans a bone. I mean, I see, obviously there is a very vocal minority that is Shedeur everything. Like, the whole team should be based around Shedeur. He's the ambassador of the Browns. There's a bunch of people that think he stinks. I would say the majority of Browns fans think he stinks.
There's a bunch of Browns fans that think he stinks.
He's a 5th-round pick who had some of the worst numbers a rookie's ever had last year.
But the difference is they don't dislike him. They dislike the other guy.
Yeah, well, there's nothing to dislike.
They might dislike some of the stuff they
might
see
hate
online.
His family. They might hate things about his family.
Yeah, they might.
Or his fan base.
They might have have been the opposite. Because I was a kid. I was infatuated with Deion. I was also 8 years old. So they were probably the opposite of me. They were probably guys my dad's age. My dad never really rolled his eyes at me for it, but they were probably sitting there rolling their eyes when I was wearing the bandana and all that other stuff. But I think that you take that into account where I think they get a little annoyed with some of the stuff they see from his fan base, but I don't think they dislike Shedeur. I think they dislike Deshaun. And if you don't care about the fans at all, because Todd Monken, it's almost a conversation that has to stop because you and I care about what the fans think, or we're supposed to.
Yeah.
Todd won't. And as much as I say this, I know it's not going to go my way. They could very well just trade Myles Garrett, and Todd Monken could go up there to the podium and go, hey, we need, in the words of Kevin Stefanski, he wouldn't say it like this, we need volunteers, not hostages. And so we let go of Myles. He didn't want to be here. We moved on. We wish him well. We're getting picks back, this, that, and the other. That's an answer for Andrew Berry. Questions for Andrew Berry. we got to get this team ready, and he might have himself a Jim Fossil moment where he pushes the chips into the middle of the table. But I don't think it's going to make a damn bit of difference. I'm just getting myself ready to be agitated because if Myles Garrett ain't on that team week 1, and Deshaun Watson goes out there and plays quarterback week 1, which it probably looks like he will, and he throws for 3 picks and no touchdowns and we lose to the Jaguars, I could go, hey, I could have the guy that people don't really dislike go throw 3 picks and no touchdowns and lose to the Jaguars.
100%.
What do we have this guy out there for? Unless you just fully believe he's that bad and you're playing 4D chess and you think he's giving you a better chance to lose
number 1
than
next
what
year?
Shedeur would, which would be insane. Because he's a veteran, and you didn't want to do that and there's just no way Todd Monken would agree to such a thing.
And that would be equally crippling to a locker room, too.
Yes.
Like, if you're starting a guy and he's immediately bad and everyone knew he was going to be bad. Because remember, it's a few years ago that we were getting the reports every day from Zach Jackson about Watson in his last year that he was able to play before the injuries, and it was, oh, guys, this is rough. He can't throw the football. And then you don't think the players saw that too? And then you trot him out there? Like, that stuff can be equally damaging.
Before I get back to the Cavs and this Legler audio from Bill Simmons, I got to ask everybody, and I don't think this is a question that maybe needs answered now. What do you do if either are decent? If you're Shedeur, and what do we do if he's decent? It's like, hey, he's a young quarterback. Maybe we found our guy. If it's Deshaun, there's still more baggage. What do I do with him?
Oh, yeah. What are you going to sign him to a contract?
Am I going to sign him to an extension? Does he want to be here? Is he want to only be here again for the money?
Franchise tender him?
Is
for
he
$45+ million, whatever it would be?
Do I do a franchise tag on the guy for crying out loud? I mean, you've already paid him a boatload of money anyway. Maybe you do. Maybe it is. But it just, one comes with so much less baggage than the other one if they were to exceed expectations and do well. 216-474-0092. We got plenty of time to chew the fat on that. About last night with Travis Kelce, news coming up at 7:45. So they kept Kenny Atkinson. And Tim Legler, you found this. So we got 2 clips of Tim Legler on with your guy Bill Simmons, right?
And Legler, who did your games in the Eastern Conference Finals. He had
came on our show last week.
He had better than Spike Lee. He had a better view, better vantage point at what was going on last series.
Spike Lee had to sit in the second row. Tim Legler says he would trade. Was he asked about Mitchell? Can you explain this?
He was asked.
I have not heard this. It'll be the first time I've heard it.
Obviously, if you're bringing Kenny Atkinson back, and they had the knowledge of this when they were doing their podcast last night, whether or not the Cavs need to move on from Donovan Mitchell or Evan Mobley, if you were going to try to offer up a pivot and something to the basketball world of why the Cavs could be different next year.
Probably Mobley, and I think I was a little bit disappointed in this series just because he shoots decent percentage from the field. He'll have some games where he does decent rebounding numbers, but he just has stretches of games where you don't notice him.
Yeah.
Offensively, now he's 4 years in.
He's 25 years old.
You just wanted that next progression. Now, he's a little bit better three-point shooter than when he came in the league, but he's not like he's out there shooting 40%. He can make them. He made 1 or 2, I think, in probably every game in this series. That's great. He added that, but it's just the impact and the force that you wanted to play with for the entire game because he has a lot of talent and he hasn't really been able to find that gear. Maybe it would be him. I don't think it would be Mitchell.
All right. I understand that. Now you're trading away the lesser player for a great player if you're making that argument. And the other thing is that he would trade. Who would he trade Evan Mobley for? He says straight out what he would do.
Would you trade him for Giannis?
Oh, for sure. Because of where Mitchell is in the stage of his career.
And being stuck with Harden, too, now for 2 years. So now it's like you're giving yourself a 2-year window.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't think that it would make sense for me in certain situations with Giannis, depending on where it was. It does in this case. Because that window is now. Every year is now going forward. So that would be the immediacy that you need in a guy that can get you through a deep playoff run and he's going to play with force against any defense and all of those things. And he's won a championship. That would be probably a place that I would say, yeah, that makes sense.
It's almost impossible for me to say no. Now, we got to get him on the same page, and I want to ask Joe Varden coming up at 8:20 here, Tone. Audio, again, courtesy of Bill Simmons. I want to ask Joe Varden at 8:20 if he's not interested in Cleveland, if he may not be interested in Cleveland. I don't know that he isn't, but it seems that he probably wouldn't be, considering some of the rumors that we've heard before. How do I get him interested? Because that's the key. Donovan's never been to the finals. He just got to the Eastern Conference Finals. James Harden famously has never been to the finals.
He's been to the finals.
He's been to the finals, hasn't won the finals.
In his career.
Hasn't won the finals, exactly. Famously, it's been a long time, and he's never won the finals. Giannis has been there and has captured the ultimate prize, knows what it takes to do it, and he's getting in the twilight of his career already. Do you believe that Evan Mobley can get to Giannis level?
Probably not.
Okay. Because this is the changeover. This is almost the inverse of the Browns. Where do the timelines match up? Does Evan Mobley's timeline match up with Donovan Mitchell's? It doesn't. And,
no.
And you know what?
No,
he may never be
doesn't.
there. He may never be there. So is it a move that you'd have to do to be able to do something? Because I got to tell you, I think that there is a serious, and I love that what Tim Legler's talking about here. I do think that there's going to be a serious conversation this summer about, well, wait a minute, are we focused on the wrong player? I mean, you brought up yourself, there's a lot of miles on Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of miles on him. And he wasn't really able to lift because he was banged up. Do we need
Legler even brought up in the pod how he goes, I don't think I remember Donovan Mitchell dunking in this series. He goes, that's not Donovan Mitchell.
Do we go in a different direction when it comes to that, or is just Mitchell blatantly, flat out untouchable? I'm just asking questions right now.
Mitchell's not flatly untouchable, but you also know that it's really hard to get a player better than Donovan Mitchell, especially in a rebuild. And listen, I hate to say it, but there is a world where Evan Mobley's never as good as Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell's been a borderline top 10 player for 6 straight years. Meanwhile, if you're wondering about Giannis, who was injured this year, so there's some risk, without a doubt. But the year before, he was 3rd in MVP. The year before that, 4th. The year before that, 3rd. The year before that, 3rd. The year before that, 4th. And then he had 1 back-to-back MVPs. He was 6th and 7th before that. So basically every year, he's hovering around a top 5 player in the league. It's really the only guy that fits that rubric. I guess you could say like Kawhi Leonard, but Kawhi's clearly, even though he had a great statistical year, Kawhi is going to continue to trend downward too, given his age. But that would be the only guy that you could get that you could say, hey, actually, he might be better than Donovan Mitchell right now. Kawhi Leonard might. And maybe Kevin Durant too. But, you get it. You're going the wrong way age-wise.
And this is part of the massive changes why you think that Kenny Atkinson actually stayed, to keep the ship stable while they make massive changes on this roster, Tone? Because you thought he could be gone by noon yesterday, and then they announced that.
So that's what I'm wondering.
He's staying.
That's what I'm wondering. Obviously, the NBA is this strange tampering behind the scenes. Like, how else, if you're Dan Gilbert, could you justify when your coach is getting lampooned the way he has been nationally? How else could you justify? You keep talking about the Browns justifying to their fans why to care this year. You had a season-long malaise, even after the Harden trade, which Harden was terrific in the regular season. And, we'll talk about the playoffs, certainly. But he was terrific. The team was really good after they got Harden. And fans, there was just this general malaise. How are you selling the fans on just running it back? You wouldn't unless you had some things up your sleeve.
God, it's hard for me to answer that. It really is, because it's hard. It's hard not to say baseline running it back, it should be a 50-plus win team. The only thing that stops you from being excited is the history of this team, which James Harden's only been here for 3 months. So all you're really going off of is everything nasty that's ever been said about James Harden. And I'm finding out here day by day, just people did not like James Harden.
Yeah,
how much they really didn't like James Harden, that maybe we should have been making a bigger joke and a bigger deal about all the stuff that was on the national perspective about James Harden before he came here. And we just thought that Cleveland fans weren't interested because, man, they are just agitated.
Yeah, nobody cared. Nobody cared that he helped you in a big way winning those first 2 series. People didn't care.
And this is possibly why Kenny is staying, is because that they could be moving on from Evan and possibly go, or they could even have that. Now, what if it even doesn't even go their way, and then Evan knows that they've been trying to move him, which I understand is the name of the game.
Well, famously, we know, ask Kyrie about that, and ask any Cavs fan who sat through that. Once Kyrie caught wind that they were, thinking about him, a Chris Paul move, all those different types of trades, that was it. Like, Kyrie was like, I'm not sitting around for this. I'm not going to be second fiddle. I don't enjoy the LeBron drama. And that was the end of that relationship. What's it going to be like for Evan?
Evan doesn't seem to be that type of guy, but you just wait, because it could end up being a very emotional summertime. Joe Varn going to join us at 8:20 this morning. Up next, we have a new minority owner of the Cleveland Guardians. It's a man you know and love. We'll tell you who and about last night in 5 minutes on The Fan.
I really don't give a shit. I mean, it had nothing to do with me. I mean, they moved the meeting. I didn't miss it. I was just trying to get a sweet haircut.
How it is when you win in Cleveland, man. They love you. When you lose, whew, it's the way it should be.
He's a piece of crap. The kid, he sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
I got rumors about him. How he couldn't please his wife, so now he's divorced.
That sounds really good, but I'm not 6'5", and I don't have the athletic ability to play in the NBA.
Now the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima give their thoughts on what you might have missed about last night.
Travis Kelce, Hall of Fame tight end, future Hall of Fame tight end.
Why did you sound like Spiro Ditas when you said Travis Kelce's name?
Oh my God, just everything.
He said, didn't he sound like Spiro Ditas?
Kind of like you were going to make some
Travis
big...
Kelce again.
He finds the blank
35
space.
yards. Threading the needle. Touchdown, Chiefs.
Hope I'm not late for my dinner reservations. Can we wrap this up?
Come on now. That's not nice. It's true, but it's not nice.
Who are they having me call the game with this week? Is it Donna Kelce?
Hello, everybody. Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta, Mahomes again.
Go ahead.
My partner's only watched one game all year.
Well, that's when they do the Browns.
Oh, Lord.
That's no. Adam Archuleta, I was like, he's doing his work now. He's doing his work. Adam Archuleta ain't bad.
Well, anyway, after all that, Travis Kelce is a new minority owner of the Cleveland Guardians, and you guys made a big deal about this earlier. Unless he has a big stake in this team, the only thing that I see changing is the fact that there are a couple things. You're going to hear more Taylor Swift at the ballpark to get his soon-to-be wife more money. They'll be married in 2 or 3 weeks. And quite honestly, I think Travis Bizzana is going to go on the New Heights podcast the same way Taylor Swift, put her album.
What's wrong with that?
No. Let me finish, Ken.
Okay.
Travis Bizzana, they're going to announce Travis Bizzana's lifetime contract on the New Heights podcast.
Wow.
All right, that makes a lot of sense.
That would be fun.
That makes a lot of sense, John. Well done. They would probably announce that. Because if you're David Blitzer, the less you're in the news, the better. I think he's one of these quieter owners. I don't think he wants to be out there and out front. Paul Dolan doesn't want to be either, for that matter. You got to show me a scenario where more celebrities hurts. That's all they do at Knicks and Lakers games. Yeah. You got to show me a scenario where more celebrities hurt, and why not have the mega pop star of all pop stars, the richest pop star of all pop stars, be involved in your team? Because, again, they're married, so it's a partnership. So why? What's the problem with her being involved in the team? I'm surprised we're getting so much negativity of just just talk quarterbacks. The quarterbacks ain't going anywhere, guys.
Well, let me ask you this, though.
We'll talk about them.
Travis, and maybe Owen, you'd be all over this. Travis versus his brother, or do you put them in the same category where there is going to be fatigue because they've reached a certain celebrity level? But is there a backlash against Travis outside of the normal internet backlash there is on 100% of famous people?
I think there's been quite a bit of backlash.
A little bit. Yeah. There has been a little bit.
If the average person sees Travis Kelce outside of Cleveland, because everybody wanted his autograph in Cleveland, but if they saw him walking the streets of New York, are people like, oh, I'm so tired of him? Or are they like, oh, I love Travis Kelce?
Oh,
probably a little bit.
Well, that's different. If you see him out, I think almost any celebrity, if you see him out, you're going to act completely different than you do online towards them when you have no repercussions.
So I will admit this. We do have producers over at 8, obviously, and
that's cool.
They'll always be like, Travis and his brother are doing some sort of new business venture every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
And they want me to talk about it every day. And finally, I was like, guys, uncle, please put this in trending. I got to have a little bit of time off because I don't want to turn on guys from Cleveland. And they're not bad people, so what's the point on turning on them? It's more and more. But if he has a stake in my favorite baseball team, I just don't find a way it can hurt. And I got to tell you, I don't even know. I can't name a single song Taylor Swift sings.
What?
Oh, God, I swear to God.
Elizabeth Taylor.
John, we talked about this before you were here when people were paying $7,000 to go see her down in Cincinnati. I can't name a single song. The only song I know is the one where it was a meme for a while, and she was like, oh, my God, look at that face. You look like Spiro Ditas. That's the only song I know of, kinda. And it was just because of the meme, and I don't even remember the meme. What was the meme?
I don't even know. I just
the new meme
look at that face.
You guys got 10 minutes. Get your gifts from YouTube and all that. Let's go. New one.
All right. The Cleveland Guardians lost last night, despite Travis Kelce being the new owner.
What has happened to their once famed offense over the last week and a half?
Well, it's the first time losing back-to-back games since May 9th and 10th. Joey Cantillo only made it through 2 innings. Guys, when the eyes are all on the Guardians now. The Cavs are done.
Are you saying the lights are too bright for our Guardians?
Stop it.
Because
Stop it, you ignorant slut.
Stop it. Okay, I'm not Dwight Schrute.
It's going to be all sun. There's going to be no lights on today.
Do you know the original ignorant slut line?
No, I don't. I know it's still from the
we
office.
got something to show you during the break.
Oh, Lord. No, but remember early in the season, they played the Braves on Sunday Night Baseball, and they got their asses kicked 13-1 or 13-0. Now the eyes are on the Guardians. And Lima said yesterday, they were Guardians. The Guardians had fans lining up outside the door. It's your time now. This team is for real.
It could just be the ebbs and flows of a baseball season. God forbid it be that. You turn everything into the biggest. Are you a Mets fan secretly? You turn every single loss into the biggest mistake that's ever been made in the history of the game. It's a little bit explainable. Okay, Tanner Bybee got touched up, actually got pounded in the first inning. And then the second inning of his first outing back on Monday.
5 bombs.
Yesterday, Joey Cantillo just couldn't find the strike zone. He just couldn't find it. 69 pitches, and even the good pitches, they're fouling off. And then they finally got to him. I didn't realize with runners in scoring position, the batting average against Joey Cantillo going into yesterday was 114. You're playing with fire. You're not the ace on this staff.
But, man, 70 pitches in 2 innings.
It's bound to happen.
That's as bad as it gets.
It's bound to happen. Now, today, need a good outing. Got to salvage this. You got a day off. You got a day off on Thursday, which is tomorrow. You got a day off tomorrow. My week's thrown off. Got a day off tomorrow. Got to take care of this bullpen. Logan Allen gave him a lot back on Monday, but you still got to take care of this bullpen. Need a good outing today. Got to get a win. Got to salvage.
The Oklahoma City Thunder have taken a 3-2 series lead in the Western Conference Finals, and I think Wemby may have put a hit out on Jared McCain last night. When he was checking out and you had Bismack Biyombo and Mason Plumlee checking in for garbage time, Wemby whispered something in his ear.
Go ahead.
Wemby whispered something in both of their ears, and they both immediately fouled Jared McCain very hard. Wemby had a terrible game last night, and he didn't even speak to the media. He walked out.
Okay, you got to talk. You have to talk. You got to talk if you're Wemby. You're going to be the face of the league.
Mitchell and Donovan and Kenny Atkinson Mitchell and Harden and Kenny Atkinson all talked after game 4.
And Wemby, I keep trying to do this with my wife because my wife does not care about a lot of this. And so I'm like, do you see that dude right there? He's going to be the guy. You're going to be sick and tired of him. He's going to be everywhere. And she's not captivated yet. I would think you just looking at somebody that size, you'd be captivated. It's not there yet. But Wemby is, some people think he's the best player in the game today. And now you want to talk about what could be legendary. If he could bring them back in the final 2 of this series, they get 1 game at home, 1 game on the road.
Game 1 is next Wednesday,
the defending
right?
Champs.
What time is tip-off next Wednesday?
Got to be 8 o'clock, right?
Probably 11:30 at night or something.
Then I guess I'm still not in on Wemby.
What do you mean?
He has not been appointment viewing for me, and I think part of it is my early hours in the late start times of games in San Antonio, Texas. And if the San Antonio Spurs are playing at the same time as the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm missing Wemby. Yeah. I can't believe LeBron has been with the Lakers for 8 years, mostly because I really haven't got a chance to pay attention to him for 8 years. I'm not watching games that tip off at 10:30 at night. I'm trying to go to Betty Buys.
And that's it for About Last Night.
Excellent work, John. Now you'll have to come around the table after I get done doing my live read because I want to show you the thing from Saturday Night Live of where that originated. It wasn't from The Office, but it was still very, very good. Joe Vardon going to join us at 8:22 this morning. If we're not in on Giannis, why the hell aren't we in on Giannis? And a debate that raged that you're going to think I picked this side because it comes to the Browns. I absolutely did not. And also, I don't need to be afraid of every single quarterback here, guys, but it just seems to be a little bit too much when you mix in the gambling stuff with this guy. I'll tell you who coming up in 5 on The Fan. Friends, Ken Carman here for K&K Heating and Cooling. You're hot.
that the Cavs didn't show up to this game, or they showed up for like a quarter and then were like, I don't really want to do this. I can't be mad at them because half of the Cavs fans, the wine and cheese crowd, did the same thing.
The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Varden 820 from The Athletic. If we're not in on Giannis, why are we not in on Giannis? And if he doesn't want to be here, how do we change Giannis's mind? Giannis's mind. So as the show broke today, as it started today, Jeff Passan, ESPN, had an announcement, or had a breaking news that Travis Kelce is becoming a minority stake owner of the Cleveland Guardians. And Lima did not have a lot of interest in it. And then he brought up a question that he had a lot of interest in. What would Cleveland... Now, Ben Axelrod on Front Office Sports, local friend of ours, which social media reactions on X are brought to you by...
Shivan Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Well, he said, would Cleveland fans rather see Travis Kelce own a stake in the Guardians or play for the Browns? Cleveland fans, he says. And you said what would have the more tangible benefit? Was that the difference?
Yeah.
Okay. It's same, whatever. I just want to make sure it was out there. And I actually said, no, part of ownership of the Guardians. And I think you said Browns. I think you were a little bit surprised I didn't say Browns. Like, he'll be 30. He's 36 now. He'll be 37. If he plays for another year after that, it'd be 37 going on 38. I got tight end. I know there's open spots at tight end. We just drafted 2 of them, for crying out loud. And then you got Taylon Green, who people already want to make a tight end in our phones and stuff like that. But I want to see what he does at quarterback first. However, I just don't think you get that much out of a guy who is famous, who is a good Cleveland man, who is playing the last year of his career, the last couple years of his career, whatever it may be, with the Cleveland Browns. I think you get far more out of him as a minority stakeholder of the Cleveland Guardians. Now, how much of a minority stake is that? Because what Lima says is right. I mean, we got to find out. I don't know exactly how much it is. If it's a 1% type of thing, because apparently David Blitzer brought him in on this. The to-be majority owner of the Cleveland Guardians, David Blitzer brought Travis Kelce in on this. If it's a 1%er type of thing, he makes appearances. Maybe he brings Taylor Swift with him. Obviously, that would be a big deal. But I'm like, hey, if he has any sort of power at all, I just don't think it could be a bad thing. If he has any sort of real investment at all, I think it could be a great thing for the Guardians and Guardians fans, and over a much longer period of time. It's way better for Cleveland to have a guy like Travis Kelce as a minority owner than a Cleveland Brown for a season.
I just saw fans have told me for years like how cool it would be if he got a chance to actually put on the hometown Browns jersey, going to the dog pound since he was a kid. He always brings up to this day his lifelong affinity for the Cleveland Browns, and just would have been a cool thing that I think fans would have enjoyed. No, you wouldn't be getting in his prime Travis Kelce. Certainly, that's gone. I mean, the Chiefs aren't getting that. But I just always thought it would be a cool thing if we got a chance to see that, and I was always bummed that we never got a chance to see it.
Are Cleveland fans also, because the reactions to Ben's social media posts are rather surprising. A lot of people are just like, what about option C? Go away. It is just a litany of people saying no more Travis Kelce. Are they that bothered about Travis Kelce, or what is it? Are they tired of Travis?
Are you tired of Travis? I think fatigue sets in on any celebrity that gets, you'd say, gets pushed to this degree. And obviously, it went to another realm. It was already happening. Then it went to a whole nother realm the minute the Taylor Swift stuff started happening. And then we all thought this would go away, him and Taylor Swift. They're getting married. Like, this is happening. Like, they are probably, he's going to be a dad.
I didn't think it was going to go away. Oh, Cleveland guys, just like Cleveland ladies, how many guys do you know that are from outside this area? Like, yeah, I went to John Carroll. I met a girl. She's from Chardon, and we're married, and we've been here for 20 plus years.
But she's famously, she's made a career off of breakups.
She has. But again, a Cleveland guys are nesters, man.
Is Travis going to ruin?
Takes two to tango.
I understand that.
Is Travis going to ruin, her recording career because she has no new ammo?
All right,
obviously, the last album, there were a lot of references to him. If you listen to the podcast, you'd know that.
Who are her ex-boyfriends? Aren't they mostly musicians?
No, actors, I think.
Actors.
And musicians.
Actors and musicians, okay? Artistic men who maybe, and I don't know any of these gentlemen, who maybe create their own problems and created problems with her for their own artistic things. Well, a guy from Cleveland, hey, there's dogs in every city. I get it. But the majority of guys from Cleveland, they're going to wake up, they're going to go to work. No matter how rich they are. They're going to wake up, they're going to go to work, they're going to come home. They don't want much other than what the normal man wants. Is that not true? I mean, Travis Kelce, I understand he's a very famous man, and he was famous even before he met Taylor Swift. Now he's at a completely different level because it's Taylor Swift. She's way more famous than anybody talking about her or anything in the world, right? But she can set her watch to him. He happens to be a football player. He happens to be a man's man, and she doesn't have to worry about any goofiness, games, head game. I'm sure they have their squabbles just like anybody else, but I'm sure it's just a hell of a lot different from any of these guys that she dated before. So I wasn't surprised at all.
She was with Taylor Lautner, Joe
that?
Jonas.
I know who Joe Jonas
John
is.
Mayer.
I know John Mayer.
Gyllenhaal, Harry Styles.
He's with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Maggie.
Calvin Harris.
It took me a minute. Calvin Harris? Yeah, Calvin Harris. I mean, isn't Calvin Harris EDM music? Mm-hmm. Oh, that comes with its whole set of circumstances there. I mean, you knew that wasn't going to work out. Travis Kelce just listens to the EDM. He doesn't make the EDM. Now, maybe he decides to kick it around a little bit in retirement, but that's still a ways off. But, yeah, you could see her. Once she found a nice Cleveland guy, you knew that there was going to be I don't know if a group like that can actually settle down, but you knew there was going to be a settling down of sort. Joe Varn going to join us at 8:20 this morning. This Giannis stuff, if Giannis isn't interested, because I'm hearing a lot, you kind of got agitated with me. And you've been putting me up on the stand here a lot over the last couple of days. You got agitated with me because all I've heard, I just assume that we would probably be at the back of the pack to try to go out and get a guy like Giannis. Now, Giannis does have a no trade, doesn't have a no trade, but he could also make things very difficult for the team trying to bring him in because he could just refuse to sign any sort of a deal.
Yeah, and you would never do that. You would never bring him in. You'd have to get assurance behind the scenes that he would be into it. And obviously, my whole thing with Giannis is, like, he is stuck right now in Milwaukee. The reason the conversation has gotten louder and louder is because they have no chance to win a championship. And they have no chance to really retool the roster. The Cavs still have opportunities. Even though they're currently, as of today, in the second apron, it would just make one James Harden tearing up his player option and signing him to a 2-year deal. Then you get under the cap, believe it or not. You actually save a lot more money. And you're still saving money than what you had tied up in Darius Garland in these 2 years. So that offers them flexibility. And then, the minute you get Giannis, now we're talking about a different realm of other players that may want to come here for veteran minimums. We still have the LeBron thing, obviously, that's dangled out there. So it does. The offseason could get rather explosive very fast.
Am I wrong to say that I know we just lost to him and got swept by him and we hate their fans and all that other stuff? As of right now, we do. Does it help us that the Knicks are good in these situations?
That they're not a candidate for Giannis?
We're still trying. Yes, we are still trying to accomplish something. And the Knicks, go back to before you and I even know each other. You remember that? Was it Andre Drummond? No, it wasn't Andre Drummond. Amari Stoudemire. That long ago, there was that whole thing of we're going to be able to get Amari Stoudemire, and it was Knicks. That whole thing before LeBron had left the first time. This was a long time ago. But it's like, man, as long as the Knicks aren't good, there's going to be guys who talk themselves into going to New York. And now the Knicks are good. And they got Jalen Brunson, who, I mean, God, if he wins a championship there, he's up there with some rarefied air, considering it's it's a basketball city in so many ways. I don't think the Nets are the Knicks. Like, if you're Giannis, maybe you do just want to be in New York City, but I don't think the Nets are the Knicks.
No.
The same thing is when it comes to, like, LeBron. Like, some people go, I could see him playing for the Clippers. I'd be shocked if he just decided to play for the Clippers over in their arena at the end of it, because they're not the Lakers.
Also,
your brand is bigger.
On what planet would Giannis, if he's truly trying to win a championship, why would you go to the West? Like, that would make absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Yes, I agree.
You think San Antonio, Oklahoma City are going anywhere
and
over the next 3 to 5 years? And that's what Giannis has to look at. The next 3 years are so vital for him. So he's going to want to go east. And of the East teams, of those properties, Miami Heat, what are they doing with the Miami Heat, especially with what the Heat would have to trade for him? Who's left? Who are you playing with? So I would cross them off the list. Well, like start to go through the teams in the East.
See, I love
Boston
this exercise.
is one. Now, Jaylen Brown, if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, would you rather have Jaylen Brown or Evan Mobley? I've heard people say Evan Mobley. I think probably Jaylen Brown because
I'd still rather have Jaylen Brown.
Instant All-NBA player. We're talking about Finals MVP and somebody that was second-team All-NBA this year. Was an MVP candidate.
Are we just under the assumption that he and Jason Tatum cannot play with each other anymore? Is that what we're under? Because if one of them has to go, then that's a hell of a chip that they may have. What I like that you're doing, like, because I keep hearing that about Giannis, and I'm going, man, I think that Cleveland and Milwaukee are similar cities. I've never been to Milwaukee, but what Dan Mennigan tells me, I mean, they're basically it's similar in so many ways. I find them to be similar cities. If he doesn't want to live in the Midwest, fine. But I'm going, who's going to give you a better chance to win right now? Like Boston, that is formidable. What you say about Miami, totally right. We give them a much better chance to win right now. Like you'd have to build and spend some time down in Miami at 31 years old. Do you really want to do that? Now, Miami's a great place to, I guess, live because you got great weather, taxes and all that stuff is great, but you're going to have to wait a while before you're actually, and that's no guarantee either. Cleveland gives you something that's ready-made. So that's what I kind of sell on it. But what are we getting back? Because if we're giving away Evan Mobley, that's the only thing we can really give up in this scenario. Will they accept something for Donovan Mitchell? Is that
what do you mean?
Is he the third rail for any fan? Are we just not including Donovan Mitchell in anything? Right
I've seen a lot of fans say they'd rather part with Donovan Mitchell because of his age.
Well, then I just want to know if that's a discussion or is that a complete heresy to say Donovan Mitchell's name at all in any trade conversation?
I think it's pretty obvious in all of their maneuvers and the stuff that's come out of that camp. Like they are committed to Donovan Mitchell. They are on his window right now. That's the only reason we'd be talking about Evan Mobley trade at all is because Evan's window where he is going to hit his peak does not align with Donovan, who we might have already started to see slippage with Donovan athletically.
Yeah. But does it mix well with Harden, Mobley, Giannis, Allen? Because Allen outperforms his contract. Everybody's so quick to trade Allen. He's working for the greatest discount, it seems, of all time. I mean, he stands to make a hell of a lot of money.
No, it's not. Look, nothing you do, if you're looking for perfect, there's no Cavs move that's going to be considered perfect, that gives them no flaws, that makes them the title favorite. There's not a move out there that does that. So you have to come up with, if you're trying to brainstorm these things, you have to come up with something that makes them better than they currently are to at least give them a fighting chance.
I agree.
Because you did not have a fighting chance against the Knicks in that last series.
And I know what I'm saying is coming off desperate. I am desperate because I think that the end of the road is this time next year. Whether we're in the NBA Finals or we're out of the playoffs again, I think the end of the road is next year. We're to the point where, you're going to have to liquidate all these assets. Coming up in 5 minutes, Joe Varden from The Athletic, senior NBA writer for The Athletic. If we're not in on Giannis, why the hell aren't we in on Giannis? And coming up at 8:45, you want Brendan Sorsby? You know he comes with his own set of circumstances. When it comes to the NCAA fine, when it comes to Roger Goodell, that's going to be a different bowl of wax. It's coming up on The Fan.
XTEN.
on 92.3 The Fan. Get all the latest Browns content filtered right to your phone during this offseason by following the Browns playlist and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Cavaliers season is over. You knew that. How the hell do we make this thing better, or are we stuck? Well, let's get those answers from Joe Varden, senior NBA writer for The Athletic. He appears on the Wise Heart Right. We make it right. Call Kyle Wright hotline. Joe, good morning to you. Were you surprised that they kept Kenny Atkinson?
Yeah, a little. It's just, you start with Dan's tweet, which was a surprise to me. I certainly took it one way, as I think most people did. And then there was just chatter throughout the league that it was one of two things. It was either if there's a fall guy, it's going to be Kenny. And then sort of outside, a little bit further outside, the talk was it's going to be Kenny. So, but obviously that's not what Dan meant. And I go back to now, once I was told the news and was able to break that story, I immediately went back to like where Dan was in the Detroit series. Like he was so supportive of his franchise and going to dinner with Kenny and Kobe the night before Game 7 and busing all those people up to Detroit and just all these things. So Dan's tweet turned out to just be a company edict that everybody who's there is going to do better.
Well, did you think it was a mistake to hold on to Kenny Atkinson, or what do you think?
No, I don't think so. I don't. I am certainly of the mind, the NFL model, like you look at the successful franchises that keep their coaches for a while, and I think you can make the same argument with Golden State and Miami and I know it's a different guy in San Antonio now, but Pop's still around. And I think that, Kenny did a great job last year. And then I do think that organizationally they had reached a point in the middle of this season where they decided that what they had previously was not good enough. So overall, I am okay with this. And I do think Kenny is a good communicator with his men. I think they respect him, and I think they want to play for him. I think there were some really questionable things that happened in these playoffs. And I also think at the time that they happened, the front office wasn't like overly joyed by it. There were some real mistakes. And so you can kind of cut this both ways. Like it does make sense to bring him back. And also, when you're a coach in a high profile situation like that, and you or your staff or your team are making errors that aren't obvious, like, well, they just keep turning the ball over. Like there's other mistakes beyond that. You can point to the coach and ask questions. So, I think this is part of this is part of a bigger picture look of being overall pleased at the progress and then just declaring that there's more to be done with this group.
Joe Varden with us on the hotline. So Dan Gilbert's 64, and the reason I assumed that Kenny would be gone yesterday is there's just the track record of Dan spending his way out of any problematic situations, sometimes over emotional, and also understanding that in the NBA, like coaching, we don't think of it the same way as we do in the NFL. Like coach might be good one year. All right, next year he struggles. Let's get him out. Like that typically is the way that league works for a lot of teams. The fact that he didn't do any of that, is it because he's wiser, more mature, less emotional as we get later in life? Or does this just mean there could be some massive deals behind the scenes that could be next, roster-wise?
Well, I think it could be both, Anthony. I think, I know we'll get into this in a minute. I am taking the much more cautious tone or approach to what they will do this offseason. And it's a little bit of an educated guess, I would say. It's not just my opinion. But Dan, I think just the way you framed this, up until the conference finals that went so badly, there was no indication from Dan that he wanted to make a change with the coach. And I think, the front office and I can argue over the semantics here. But what we would have to agree on is that Dan was an active supporter of Kenny from the start. This was not a case where the front office had to convince Dan to make this hire. This is something Dan was actively supportive of. And I don't think that he believes or wants to or whatever that hiring Kenny was a mistake. So that's it. That's where they are. I think the second thing to that, before we move on to the players, is there's a very real chance that all the things that have been said over the last few days that have had so many of us rolling our eyes about analytics this and open shots that and expected whatever, okay? There's a very real chance that they're all buying that and that they have taken a step back and they're saying, you know what? Our guys were in the right positions to win these games, and we were just gassed. We were too tired. We were too tired to make these shots and then, gagging away game
Joe
one.
fans are not going to want to hear that. I'm already seeing Ken's body language.
I'm not yelling at you, Joe. Wait, you agree with them?
True.
You agree with them, or you agree with the Cavs?
That is not my job to agree with them or disagree with them. I am here to tell you why this is happening.
I'm not mad at you, Joe.
What I just said is the truth.
Yeah, I'm not mad at you. And I know you don't care.
You're not going to draw me into this. You're not drawing me into taking the side here. I'm here to tell you what is happening. And it's a legitimate explanation. I even said it after they fell down 3-0, hey, I know we're all about to wring our hands with this team and lack of toughness this and quit that and Kenny this and whatever. Last year, the Knicks were in the conference finals. And yes, they went 6 games. I understand that. But they also gagged away a lead in game 1, horrible fashion. And they fired the coach but kept the players. But the fact is, you can get there for the first time and learn from it. And this is Donovan's first time. And it is Evan's first time. And it is Jarrett's first time. And they learned lessons that they didn't know before. And couple that with what it costs, A, to pay this team, and then B, what it will cost to dismantle this team. Those things point to at least some semblance of giving this roster a chance to learn from its mistake.
That, to me, would be the most disastrous of all the scenarios that you've painted, that they believe that they were tired and unlucky. Because I'm what were the Knicks just in the Eastern Conference Finals because of luck, just because of dumb luck that they beat who they beat? With Toronto is Toronto and Detroit secretly 2 of the best teams in the NBA, and we just had to beat them in 7-game series, and we were just too tired to beat the Knicks?
Detroit, on paper, of course, was the second best team in the NBA, but Toronto, that's where you got it. That one was unacceptable. That was unacceptable, and that's where their sins were. There is no way that series goes to 7 games, and I was taken back by the nonchalance from James and Donovan in that series. They needed to grab that series by the horns and get it done much earlier than they did, and that didn't happen. Going down 2-0 in Detroit, that wasn't as concerning to me. But you had set yourself up for a harder path by allowing the Raptors, who were out 2 starters, to do what they did.
How tethered are the Cavs to any particular members of this core right now?
Yeah, Anthony, I think obviously that's the next question, right? I thought, and I'll preface this. When Dan sent out that tweet, leading up to it, I was comfortable, obviously enough to report it, that the Cavs had shown no interest in this Evan for Giannis thing. And then Dan comes out and says, we are nowhere near where we need to be. And now I'm thinking, does that mean that we have a new front office coming that might not be wed to Evan? Has Dan changed his mind on the players he's drafted? So now that we see that maybe we know that half the answer is no, that Dan's still good with what he has. So now you turn the page and you look at this team. Before we talk about moves they can make, we all have to understand that their roster, as projected, is soaring past the second apron. Okay, to make any of these moves, which includes trading Evan for Giannis. Okay, they have to not only get under the second apron, they have to get under the first apron. And the reason why is Giannis makes $8 million more than Evan does. That is outside the realm where you can just throw cash or to make up the difference. And if you are over the first apron, salary-wise, you may not trade two players for one. You can't do it. So just to pull this, they're going to have to do things like renounce Dean and Keon and maybe trade the first-round pick, maybe waive and stretch Schroeder. I'm not saying they're doing any of those things, but those things all have to happen just so they can start making these bigger swings. And then if you take that bigger swing on Giannis, then that severely limits what you can offer LeBron. And if you want to offer LeBron more than the minimum or than $6 million, which I wrote yesterday is an 88% pay cut over what he makes now, if you want to do that, if you want to offer him more than the bare minimum, then you need to stay out of you need to get under the first apron. So, there's just a lot of tough decisions that have to be made here, and that they can do these things that we're all going to talk about, but it's way harder than just saying, yeah, okay, we're ready to trade Evan. No, you have to do a bunch of stuff before you can even pull that move.
All right. Well, so give me a % chance Giannis plays for the Cavs next year.
Well, Ken, I can't. I would have told you it was about 0, but now I can't say that because I have to be open. I have to be open to the big possibilities. An edict is still an edict, and we're nowhere near suggest all out effort, and that could mean changes. So I can no longer rule this out. But what I do know is the Cavs still believe in Evan Mobley. And if we're being honest with ourselves, Evan was the most consistent player for the Cavs in the 26 playoffs. He was. Sorry.
Man, what does that tell you, though? I mean, you can argue he got outplayed by Josh Hart in that series.
Fine. He's 25, and he's still learning some of this stuff. And, they know everybody in the league knows what Giannis is capable of, but he's been hurt for 2 years. He's on the wrong side of 30. And does he have any interest whatsoever in coming to Cleveland? Now, you might say, well, he doesn't have a no trade clause. It's not up to him. It's up to Milwaukee. And Evan Mobley would clearly be the best return they could get for him. I don't think it's close, honestly. But would the Cavs make that move understanding that Giannis would not be interested in an extension here? Is Evan Mobley worth trading for literally a 1-year run? Is that worth it? I'm not sure that it is. So, I'm still on that side between Giannis's interest in Cleveland and the Cavs' concerns with his injuries, coupled with how they still feel about Evan, at least at the front office level, that I am on the side that this won't happen. But you're not going to catch me ruling it out.
All right, we're going to catch you doing something here. Joe Varden with us. 1-word prompt, and then you can run with it.
Well, just say it.
LeBron.
I am also of the mind, I was around him a lot in 24, right, with the Olympics, and then haven't seen him much the last 2 years, only occasionally. But the guy that I've known for 12 years now, money to him matters because
How about a game ball? Game balls matter too. Can't seem to get one of those from his head coach.
Yes, but it matters.
We gave one to Deshaun Watson once with the Browns.
We just give away here.
Yeah.
So, like, does he want to play with Donovan, James, Giannis or Evan, whoever, and end it all here in Cleveland? I mean, maybe. I have not gotten that indication. Maybe he does, but like, is he okay with walking into the locker room and knowing that Sam Merrill makes more money than him? The LeBron James I know is not okay with that, and it's because of what he feels he has done for the league at large, which is true, by the way. Like, he knows there's a $77 billion media deal that the NBA is going to reap for the next 11 years. And he knows that was built largely on the play that he had put out on the court for all those years. So this is tough. And for me, I don't see it. I think he wants to be a Laker if he continues to play at all. And I can go through the reasons, or we could just leave it at that. But that's where I think he wants to do. I know he can make way more money there, which, he's still not going to make as much as Luka anymore, as much as Reeves anymore. And maybe even if the Lakers go get a third guy, like LeBron would make less than them, but he would still be in the double-digit millions, which for a 40, going on 42 years old, I think he'd be okay with that. So, I mean, we'll see what kind of pitch the Cavs put together, or even if they decide to do that. Do they think that LeBron would be an upgrade over, what they have at the wing position now at that age? I also think, it's interesting. We're talking about this scenario, which is like somewhat, I mean, if LeBron's willing to take such a pay cut, there is like this puncher's chance scenario where you have a team of Donovan, James, Giannis, and LeBron. Okay. LeBron's 41 right now. James will be 37 in August, and Giannis is 31 now, I think. Giannis has been hurt for 2 years. LeBron misses a ton. He missed so many games this year that he couldn't be eligible for awards. James is really durable, but he doesn't move very much during the regular season. If Giannis gets hurt again, what's that team like? Especially when you had to get rid of all the capable backups that you've accumulated because you had to find a way to pay for all this. What's that team like? How much pressure is on Donovan now? If he's carrying a roster with, two players who are old and or hurt and can't play 82 games or even 70 games. And then James is what he is during the regular season. So I'm not sure that's the pressure they want either, and I don't know if that is better than a healthy and motivated Mobley who's turned 26 and has another year of experience under his belt. I'm just, I get it. Giannis is amazing. LeBron is arguably the greatest player of all time, but we have to consider where these people actually are in their lives and in their careers and just apply it to where the Cavs are now. And I think these are harder questions to answer than, the 3 second, Giannis, LeBron, oh boy, here we go. I just think it's more complicated than that.
Joseph, that was excellent. Thank you so much for the time. All the best.
Okay, guys, great to talk to you.
Joe Vardon, senior NBA writer for The Athletic. If the Cavs are really thinking this, what Joe just said to us, we are really screwed as Cavs fans. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima on The Fan. 92.
heat of the Cavs offseason. Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
You agree with the Cavs?
It's not my job to agree with them or disagree with them. I am here to tell you why this is happening.
I'm not mad at you, Joe.
What I just said is the truth.
Yeah, I'm not mad at you.
But
and I know you don't care.
You're not draw me into this. You're not drawing me into taking a side here. I'm here to tell you what is happening, and it's a legitimate explanation.
He don't want to get aggregated as well. He does not want to be on the record of I agree with the Cavs. He don't want to do that because he knows it ain't gonna be held well. Because when you're saying all conversations are brought to you by Surfside Hard Iced Tea that ask you to please enjoy your Surfside Hard Iced Tea responsibly, of course. When they're saying, Joe posits that the Cavs could very well believe that, hey, it just got tired and winded and unlucky. It's like, come on, that's the biggest slap in the face to Cavs fans ever. Like, there's been some Cavs fans here over the last couple of years who have said some things that might, out of frustration, might not be true. Like the Indiana series, I thought they got out-assed. I didn't think that they got out-fought. But we say things out of frustration. That's fine. But, I mean, good God, who's lying to who? If you're sitting there trying to tell people that you just got tired and you just didn't like the schedule, then I guess you should have beat Toronto in a decent amount of time so you can get your feet up and rest. I guess you should have beaten Detroit, who you matched up very well against. And I know Detroit was the number one seed. Okay, well, who gamed the system? Who gamed the system here? See, that's...
What do you mean by that?
Do we or do we not talk about what they did at the end of the season? I mean, they kept that spot in the rankings on purpose. They did what they could to make sure that they had the matchups that they wanted. That's what I'm saying by gaming the system.
I mean, they still finished one of the better records over the last month of the year.
Okay,
it's not like they fell ass backwards on purpose intentionally to do everything they can. Like they won a ton of games.
So we never had a conversation about Cade Cunningham's injury, or excuse me, his lung, and then you having to
that was smart.
Figure out what they were going to do.
But didn't we all agree universally that was smart what they were doing? It wasn't like that was
Cade
stupid.
Cunningham had a serious medical emergency there, but we had a conversation, Anthony, about how the playoffs. We were very respectful about Cade Cunningham, and then once we got over with that, we were saying, hey, doesn't this bother us with how the seeding is? Because we didn't want to see the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference playoffs.
I wanted, quite specifically, I wanted somebody else to get a chance to beat them.
Did they not game the system? That's not new.
But it wasn't nearly as flagrant as it came out of your mouth. You acted like they
like they did it on accident?
You acted like they put it up on the whiteboard with a month to go. We have to do everything we can.
Could you stop being so sensitive over the Cavs?
No, I'm not.
Good God Almighty.
They did it.
I said it in passing for the love of God, and you want to turn everything into a deposition.
They literally did it. They figured that out with a week left to play.
All
and we all
Tell
agreed.
me what they're doing.
Hold on. We all agreed it was smart, too. You're acting now like they should be in trouble because they did that? I don't get that.
You gamed the system, though. That's what you did. That's what they did. You wanted the matchups. You got the matchups. And then the matchups went longer than we thought that they were going to go. We went longer than they thought they should have went. Now, Detroit, maybe there should have been a little bit more respect. Fine. But when you have Toronto sitting there and you play with your food, which is Donovan's words, not mine, when you have Detroit sitting there where you start off in a 0-2 hole, so you basically have to go to Game 7, except you could have closed it out in Game 6 at home, except you went out there and played like garbage and embarrassed yourself.
I'm sure.
So where are we finding excuses?
I don't know if it's that part is dumb. I would get rid of that messaging immediately.
Man, everything I say about the Cavs these last couple of days, man, you've been starting to go after me like my name's Nick.
But when people,
you got to relax.
But when people okay, Ken. Settle down.
Well, I'm not the one getting... Don't tell me to settle down. You're the one getting personally sensitive over this.
You're getting grumpy all of a sudden.
I'm not getting grumpy, but when you have a team that's making excuses for themselves...
Get it out of your system, and then I'll get a chance to talk.
It's the most Lima move ever.
Obviously,
make me mad and then act like I can't say and defend myself. This is as Lima as it gets.
I don't know what you're defending yourself against. Just let's move on.
You accused me of saying things that weren't true. You accused me of saying things that weren't true.
So the Hawks.
Don't whatever at me when you brought it up. You asked me.
I guess we're done with the segment. I guess we'll move on. Let's get to Myles Garrett trade rumors here in 8 minutes.
No, absolutely not.
So
give everybody the company line.
Oh, and I can't move on, can I? He's not going to let me.
I'm afraid to speak.
There were 7 different chances I tried to get in here.
My mic's off.
So when I hear and he's still yelling, he still can't let it go.
Please keep talking about me instead of trying to make the point you were trying to make.
Holy cow, it's not going to happen. I got to leave. I literally can't do it anymore.
Mic's off. All our mics off. Okay, he's leaving. I don't know why he's leaving. You are more than welcome to talk on the microphone. You are more than welcome to talk on the mic. So you're going to take your ball and go home? Yes. Okay, he took his ball and went home. Okay, that's fine. I don't know why you had to leave the room over that, for the love of God. I must have mentioned the wrong thing. I was critical of the Cavaliers and how they game the system for their postseason. I'm sorry. I apologize. You can if you're willing to come back in and do the show with me, you can have the floor. You can lead the whole thing. Can we negotiate a settlement here on the air?
Well, he's not on the air.
So he's not going to do his job? No.
He's left.
What is he going to do?
He's going to finish this segment,
right.
I believe, out there.
So I'm gonna go to break. All right. When we go to break, I'm going to try to talk Tone back into doing it. On my dead mother in a box in my office, I won't say a word. I will not say a word. Is that fair?
I don't believe you.
Well, is it not? I won't say a word. I swear to God. If he wants to pump out whatever rhetoric he can, that's fine. But when you say, what do you mean by that? I'm going to answer the question. Because every time we talk Cavs, especially when we're being critical of the Cavs, it's, what do you mean by that, Ken? What do you mean by that, Ken? What do you mean by that, Ken? What do you mean by that? Well, I'm telling people what I mean by it. Is he coming back, or are we done with Anthony here?
We have to go.
Okay. Because all I needed to do was get an answer.
He might come. We'll see if we can get him back in here.
I will try to coerce him into doing his job, and then he can have the microphone. I will turn my microphone off. You can watch us live on YouTube. I will sit here with my arms crossed until he invites me in, if he invites me in. If he doesn't, then I will not speak until invited in. I promise you that. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, excuse-making for the Cavs continues on The Fan. Friends, Ken Carman here for the
for all today's headline segments. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Talk sports deep into the Cleveland night. Overtime with Jake Volnick. Weeknights at 7. Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Toad Monkman on X says, like father, like son, Lima walks out. I did walk out. I did. At times, the two of us, and this is, I think, happened many times over the years. What we pride ourselves in is that we can be petty, we can be children, we can be rather juvenile, and then we can redress our concerns immediately during a break, and we did so. And while Owen said he thought we both got out of line.
No, I just didn't think it was very good.
Well, and Owen will also tell us when he thinks what we're doing on the radio is not very good as well. But I wanted to point out, I agreed with almost everything you said last segment. I did. I do not think the Cavs in any way, shape, or form. I'll just say it right now. I'll be the minister of their communications right now for the next few moments. I know they have people that do that, but they're not on the radio right now.
Communications minister?
They're not on the radio right now, so I'll do it for them, as Ken was accusing me of. I would.
Well, Ken can't defend himself right now.
Sure he can. We've negotiated it. Am
I allowed?
We've negotiated it. If I were the Cavs, I would never mention the schedule of the playoffs ever again. I would never mention that, yes, they did have to play 14 games in like 28 days, and that was a record. I would never mention that again. Like Ken said, that was of their own doing. They had a hard-fought 7-game series against the Raptors in which, let's be honest, who did the Raptors have that should have posed that kind of a threat? That series should have never gone 7 games. Kenny, absolutely, you are 100% right. And while we were experiencing that series, we were all going, holy cow, how is this happening? You were up 2-0 in that series. Going back to Toronto, at most should have netted them 1 win. And so they put themselves, and their star player, Donovan Mitchell, acknowledged it as such. The Detroit series, I mean, I thought we'd win the series, but then we got down 2-0, and I was like, oh my God, how embarrassing is this going to be? And then I thought the Cavs showed us something in that series. But again, 7 games after the 7 games prior, you did not put yourself in the best of spots. That's why both of us sat here, and who did we pick in the Knicks series? We picked the Knicks. Mm-hmm. We did not see that being one of the all-time humiliating sweeps in NBA history.
That
was bad.
The schedule was part of the reason. Now, obviously, I'm coming in a lot nicer, which, I mean, Owen has a point. Now, if you do want two people to not lose their cool and give each other ample time, we are 56 minutes away from 10 o'clock. They do that very well. Let me come in a little nicer here. Let me say it, or let you say it. Like, there are always, I'll let you guys in on this. You guys know this, but I'm gonna have the open secret. There are people from all 3 teams in town. They all listen. They all do. They love to say they don't. They all listen because they text us during the show. And I'm not going to say who. I'm not going to name names, but they will text Anthony during the show, or they'll text me during the show, or they'll text Owen to tell us during the show that, oh, well, that's not fair. This isn't fair. Or the best thing is when news breaks during the day, and then they know that one or me or Anthony or both are going to be really mad the next morning, so they'll try to play defense already and try to call or text or whatever.
That has happened many times.
All 3 teams. Where Kenny messed up, where they mess up, all you have to do is send us a text to make an argument, and we may or may not believe it. Like, there have been plenty of times where somebody from any of the 3 teams has texted me or you, and we've been BS. No, not right. We're going to do it. Or I go, okay, I could see that point of view, and it just sticks in your head. Not like you agree you're going to say what it is. The company line was over the line. Let me draw that from the record. That was a little bit too much by me. All right? So I'm trying to do this as short as I can. Just let me say it. If you think that the schedule, I'm serious, if Kenny Atkinson thinks that the schedule is a little bit rough, don't say it to the media. Let Jason Lloyd say it. Let Joe say it, Joe Varden. Or let Anthony say it, or me, or anybody. Let us say it. And then let us get killed for it. Because if I say that, I get hammered for it. If I believe it, I don't believe it, but say I did. Say I did and thought it was a legitimate reason. Let me take it. Because it ain't, I'm not in charge of the team. I'm just a radio show host. You're just a radio show host. They're just writers. They're just media. And maybe there's going to be some people who believe it in hell. Maybe over time, it ends up being an accepted thought. I don't know, kind of like what you see. And it's not like it is. Kind of like what you're seeing with Deshaun Watson starting for the Cleveland Browns. Guys, if that many people are saying it, we're starting to become used to the idea, are we not? If that many people are talking about Myles Garrett being on the move, are we or are we not starting to become used to the idea? So if that many people start to talk about the schedule that much and it actually being a legitimate reason, well, now all of a sudden it's there. But you can't do it. Just like Andrew Berry can't come out and say, yeah, we're going to trade Myles Garrett, or we're thinking about trading Myles Garrett. And let me tell you the players we're thinking about trading him for. Like, you can't do that. And Andrew knows that. Kenny made a terrible mistake mentioning schedule and luck and analytics.
Oh, the luck stuff. Well, really that was the next thing I wanted to get to.
He is very lucky that Dan has become a very patient man. Those three things, there's been guys who have been fired for those three things. When the series goes that poorly against you, those three things I just mentioned, you get canned for.
Would younger Dan Gilbert, a very different Dan Gilbert, would that have been curtains immediately for Kenny? I think it would have been. 100% it would have been. He's fired coach of the years before. He has
coaches
no problem
for less.
He has no problem doing that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I think about that like from a standpoint, because you're not just talking to free agents or guys you might trade for the rest of the league, the media. You're also talking to your fans. And I know there was a moment in the postgame where I think Kenny got a little prickly with Joe Varden over some stuff. But, I just walked out of this room last segment. I think I walked out of the room faster than a lot of the Cavs retreated on defense. Like after Kenny was trying to implore for them to get back in a Kenny way, too. Like, can you even see Kenny when you've seen the postgame or pregame speeches? Can you even see him getting so worked up and animated and in their faces? Because at some point, even LeBron needed that, right? That was the famous example with Ty Lue on how the coaching messaging changed once and for all from David Blatt to Ty Lue, is that on day one, we're going to do film study of LeBron not getting back on defense. Okay, are you going to do that with James Harden and Donovan Mitchell? Like, not just tell the media you did it, which is what they said. Oh, yeah, we talked to the team. How did you talk to them? Did you brush it off at the end of the meeting and said, all right, guys, have a good night. Like, we have a big game tomorrow. Like, how did you do that? How'd you go about doing that? Because what I saw in front of everybody and what Charles Barkley and Kenny and Shaq and Zach Lowe and Bill Simmons and just anybody associated with the game, Tim Legler, they all saw it on the floor, and it was humiliating. And we throw around humiliating a lot. That was humiliating.
And I'll start to draw a line because I love that you brought up LeBron. And now we're being polite and taking our turns with each other. I love that you brought up
Which
LeBron.
is not as fun.
Yeah, I know, but this is what it is. LeBron has made it abundantly clear he just respects a former player so much more. He respected Ty Lue way more than he respected, at least a former NBAer. He respected Ty Lue way more than he respected that. And you could say what you want to about Eric Spoelstra. Dwayne Wade helped that situation out immensely, saying, hey, if you don't go with this guy, Pat's going to come down from the office, and you do not want to play for Pat. And that changed that opinion real quick. We all know that. That's well documented. Ty Lue, J.J. Redick. But the more you say it, I'm like, well, not every guy has to be a former NBA player. Because like Tom Thibodeau, I have faith that Tom Thibodeau would tell you what's what. Now, if you went and fired Kenny Atkinson and brought in Tom Thibodeau, well, good luck, because I think that you want to talk about gas. I think these guys are all going to play 48 minutes. You ain't going to have nothing left in the tank by the time the postseason comes around. But Tom Thibodeau, I would give him the respect that he deserves. The more you Kenny, the more Kenny Atkinson kind of tippy-toes around this and makes excuses, if things don't go smoothly next year, people are going to be wondering how much respect he's got.
Kenny, if you're not
afraid to rattle cages,
if they start out 17-16 like they did last year, what do you think's going to happen?
Exactly.
That'll be bye-bye.
So every guy reaches a point where if it's not getting through and we're all professionals here, then I got to tell you what for. And if he's not willing to do that, then we're just going to continue to have some of the same problems, because it was absolutely insulting to Cavs fans. Those three things I brought up. You're bringing up analytics and that analytically we're up 2-1. You're saying that with a straight face. Wrong messaging.
And that is now set in stone.
Wrong messaging. Yes.
If you ask anybody online right now or any basketball fan in general, they're all mad. I was listening to Isola and Scalabrini yesterday. They must have told the same joke 30 different ways about, well, analytically, the Cavs should be showing up today to MSG. It should be Game 5. Here we go. Like the same joke 100 times. So that's inescapable. And I can't imagine how Dan feels about that. Now, I know they did win Game 7 in Detroit, and maybe to Dan Gilbert, that is gravy. Do the fans here care? The fans that weren't on those buses,
no.
Do they care about that party and pep rally you had in Detroit? They don't. They weren't there. They didn't experience it.
And Owen, he's a General fan. He held Donovan Mitchell's feet to the fire over 82-0, that comment, and he was right. And I think a lot of people started to drop in once they made the trade for James Harden because it made things different. But you have something, what Kenny Atkinson said, three way worse things than any. I mean, Donovan Mitchell just laid the challenge out for his own team. And he was right. Like, they didn't care. No matter what the record was, you won 64 games, you got bounced in the second round. Donovan Mitchell was talking tough when he said it. He wasn't making no excuses when he said that. But when I'm hearing Kenny Atkinson, the head coach of your team, in a league that people say makes too many excuses as it is, and people who say professional sports makes too many excuses as it is, when you're bringing up those three things, especially something like analytics, which we have fought tooth and nail in this town over, which ain't even your fault, by the way. It's a totally different team and a totally different sport. But when we have fought tooth and nail there, people are going to nail that thing to the wall, and that is what you're going to have to answer for. And so if we get halfway through the year next year or partway through the year next year and we're seeing the same stuff and we ain't hearing no tough talk, we're just going to think you ain't respected enough in the locker room to be able to say these things.
And Joe Mazzulla, who just won Coach of the Year, congratulations. Kind of funny when these things come out when your team's embarrassed earlier on in the playoffs.
Not JB?
No, believe it or not. I
know it's recency bias.
That was my pick. That would have been my pick. But Mazzulla, what are they crushing him in Boston? Even though he has a championship, so he has a little more of a leash. But what are they crushing him for? Every game this year. We had good looks. I mean, we had good looks. The data points, these are good looks. I would tell my team to take them all over again. He's getting crushed because those good looks led to them getting humiliated in the playoffs by a team that they should not have lost to. And so they're getting it over there. Of course, our coach hasn't won a championship. Our coach got over the second round hump. But, man, at the end, we can all be honest, it didn't feel that much better than losing to Indiana in 5 games last year, the way your season ended. Doesn't mean there weren't good moments. There were. We saw some great Game 7s, and Jared Allen and Mobley, I think, took a step forward. We could talk about this series. Varden thought he took a huge step forward. Whatever. Overall, do fans feel that much better than they did a year prior where they only made it to the second round and lost in 5 games?
Not really.
It doesn't feel like it.
Well, because you go out there in Game 1 and you lose the way you do, and then you put up no fight in Game 4. In a closeout game, you put up absolutely none. I know Game 3 was a little bit, but, again, when you're making all these excuses and saying all these things, they're just not going to take it the right way. You're grown men. And this is not a college program or a high school program. It's the NBA. And we're not at the beginning of all this. Like, if Kenny would have said that in 2019, 2020, 2021, somewhere in there, like, yeah, it would have been taken a little bit differently. 2021, it's taken a little bit differently. 2026, man, that you can't. No. They're all veterans now. Can't do it. Coming up in 5 minutes, just by continuing to have the conversation, you change the thoughts of the fans about Miles. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app. 60 months by the end of the year, 0% financing available. Folks, free estimates. It can get no better than K&K Heating and Cooling. You tried to turn on that AC.
on 92.3 The Fan. Listen to The Fan Rewind weeknights 11 to midnight. All the best segments from all our shows, and you can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
So just like I said, the more we have these conversations, the easier it is to start to envision it. And so the more you talk, like it's same thing with Odell Beckham Jr. How many nasty emails did we get? Why are you talking about this? Why are you wasting our time? And it felt like we talked it into existence. I get nervous because the more you talk about Myles Garrett,
talk this into existence.
I don't want to talk it into existence. However, it just feels like these things are going to be talked into existence for us, whether we want to or not. So just because I'm uncomfortable with the conversation doesn't mean we shouldn't have it, or doesn't mean I shouldn't have it, because I have to have it.
Maybe there's a world where nobody can meet the demands of the Browns when they call the Browns. Not that the Browns are calling other teams, like Albert Breer, speculated yesterday. He's like, oh, no, they don't have to call anybody. Those calls are incoming. Maybe nobody hits those markers when it comes to a deal. And we're like, all right, let's shelve this until the trade deadline. Maybe the Browns' talent is the young talent all shows up. That can happen in the NFL. Young players can play well right off the rip. And maybe whoever the quarterback is, but let's just say for the sake of argument, it's Shedeur, and they get off to a 4-2 start, like the dream of all dreams. Then you don't have to worry. Then you won't have to worry about any of that.
Yeah, it's nice. But we all know reality. Well, seriously, we all know reality. Because I wasn't misquoted, but I thought it was kind of written a little bit differently about our conversation earlier. Where it's like, I'm buying the rumors. Joey had written that I'm not buying the rumors. I love Joey. I'm not trying to throw Joey under the bus, even though by accident I am throwing Joey under the bus. Yeah, I am sorry about that, Joey. I didn't mean to push you right in front of the bus, buddy. I buy the rumors. How could I not? There are names that are talking about this. Yeah, this isn't Bob's football website. This is Albert Breer. This is Peter Schrager. Right? These are guys who know, no matter what. I've always been a big fan of Peter Schrager just because I've never seen a guy do so well being so nice in my entire life. I mean, he's just so nice about everything. If they're bringing it up, I got to talk about it. And they were asked yesterday, Albert Breer was on Afternoon Drive. The guys in the afternoon asked him about trading Myles Garrett because they played the audio of Todd Monken answering whether or not he's spoken to Myles, and I believe they'll have some media availability today, right? Every Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So he's going to have to answer a question about Myles. And here was Albert Breer on Myles.
I actually agree with some of the reason to do it. After June 1st, it becomes easier. On top of there being a new coaching staff there and the team being in the middle of a youth movement, I think that things are TBD until you hear otherwise. That could be next week. That could be the trade deadline. I just think when you're talking about after 6 years of Kevin Stefanski being in charge there, after a bunch of years of Jim Schwartz running the defense, and after doing what the Browns have done the last couple of years to try to stock the team with young talent and get younger all over the place, this does feel like the type of time when you would entertain that type of thought.
So the talk about trading him gets brought up again. How much does it mean that Myles isn't speaking to Todd Monk and all this and that? But really, I think you start to get thoughts of, I don't really care how Myles feels. I'll tell you this. Let me say, not the thoughts of what you can get back. We'll get to that here in a second. Personally, I don't care how Myles feels. I don't. The contract's a contract. You get paid an exorbitant sum. Now, if he wants to get more money and he wants to use this as some sort of tactic, fine. There's very little I can say to the guy because he goes out there and performs. But if we're going to separate ourselves from any emotion out of this, let me tell you, if he's mad that Jim Schwartz isn't the head coach, it's high time you get over this. All right? They've done things. We read the Mary Kay Cabot article back in the day. They've done things based on what you've wanted them to do. And it's ended up being a disaster, a total disaster. You remember Mary Kay when she wrote the article, and you could read it, where it was like, basically Myles made it out to be it's either me or Baker. And they chose him. And maybe we wouldn't be much better off with Baker. Maybe a change of scenery had to happen for him to grow up. But I tell you, I don't think it's any bit of a disaster as what it's been over the last how many years now with Deshaun. So we've done these things before. You get paid a lot of money. You are a Hall of Famer. You're a guy who does all these things for us. But can we use you as a piece to make ourselves better? Because, yeah, there's going to be teams that definitely they intend to give us a later first-round pick, later picks as they are. But maybe we can get 3 first-round picks. I mean, what is the haul for Myles Garrett? Here's what Albert Breer says.
Look at what Khalil Mack went for. Look at what that price was. And I think you would be looking for that sort of return for Myles Garrett. And if you wait a year or two, like now look what Von Miller got traded for when the Broncos traded him to the Rams. And I think the Broncos probably waited a little too long. Now, the Broncos still got a decent return for Von Miller, but it certainly wasn't the same as what they would have gotten if they had traded him like a year or two earlier. To me, like that makes his age a very relevant factor here. I still think you can get a huge haul for him. If you don't do it now, and you're not taking a really hard look at it now, you risk in a year or two when maybe your team is really ready to win, getting a lot less for him. So that's what Andrew Berry has to consider if people are going to come along and make offers. This isn't a player you even have to shop. You know what I mean? Like, teams are going to show their interest in a guy like that.
I want everybody to turn their mics on. I want to ask you guys right now. Dallas Cowboys come to you. Let's use Dallas. They seem to be the most optimal one. He's from there, all that. And Albert mentioned that in that interview. You can hear it at 923thefan.com and on the absolutely free Odyssey app. Lyman, let me ask you first. The Dallas Cowboys come to you with 2 1s for Myles Garrett. Yes or no?
Need more.
Okay, but it starts at 2 1s. Yeah. Okay, because that's the ones we think of. I'm sorry, 2 1s and change for Myles.
I'd also rather have their 2 number 1s than I would, say, the Rams or, say, the Eagles.
So I'm using Dallas because he's from there, the whole video before the draft, the whole thing. Dallas comes with you, 2 number 1s and change, you say yes.
Throwing in a 2?
I think it'd have to be 2 1s and 2 2s or 3
What about
ones,
a player?
Let's do 2 1s and 2 2s and a third.
What about a
for
player?
Myles?
Is that possible?
That's whatever.
I don't want a player.
That's ancillary. It's extra throw in there.
Okay.
2 1s, 2 2s, a third for Myles. Yes or no? Ooh, he's on the fence. That ain't even a Browns fan over there.
Yeah, it's tough.
He's a Browns supporter, but he's not a fan. He's a Chiefs fan.
Are you saying this is the best offer? Like
I'm just guessing. Yeah. Okay, going through it. I'm not trying to be exasperated with either of you.
I think there's a better offer out there somewhere.
Say that this is the best offer. John, yes or no?
I mean, it'd have to be the most ridiculous trade ever for you to give up Myles. I think you should do it.
But I said 2 1s, 2 2s, the third for Myles.
That's not the most ridiculous trade ever.
It's not the most ridiculous trade ever.
Non-quarterback. The most ridiculous non-quarterback, non-insane trade ever because the Herschel Walker trade is the most ridiculous thing ever.
So this is interesting because I thought a lot of people, I'm glad you guys brought this up. I'm really glad Owen hemmed and hawed over it. You did too. You wanted even more. This is not as easy as what we make it out to be when we're having conversations here in short amount of time. And also you have to consider it's not our jobs that are on the line. It's Andrew's job that's on the line. Now, Andrew's been through it and is seemingly coming out on the other side. Do you believe, though, that Andrew Berry in early June or late next week, could he make that move? Let's just use it in June. Could he make that move and still guarantee he's going to have a job in January?
I don't believe in any.
You are not winning games without Myles.
I don't believe in any guarantees.
You don't win many games with Myles.
I think Jimmy Haslam could guarantee it, and then by the end of the year go, oh, I don't like this.
There's no way that it's guaranteed.
Mm-hmm. John, do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so none of us can trust Jimmy to keep us employed if we're Andrew Berry. So basically, if you guys want to make this move, you're going to have to hope that the owner steps in. Because if you can't trust it, then why would I make this move?
Well,
then ultimately be known as the guy who traded for Watson and traded away Myles. Well, God, my name is Mudd. I'm going to have to switch sports.
But the other part of this is, obviously, Jimmy Haslam would be signing off on this. I mean, he would have to sign off on this to begin with. There's no way. This is as big-ticket item as you get. We always talk about that. What are the big-ticket items? And then the owner has to intervene. Like, we hear so often, especially in the NBA, too, anytime you get the major deals, they say, the GMs end up just putting the owners on the phone because the owners are not just going to allow the tectonic shift in their whole organization. Like, they have to be supportive. And what we don't know behind the scenes is what has been the level of communication between Myles Garrett. We know nothing with Todd Monken really in person. But what is it with Jimmy Haslam? what does Jimmy Haslam know about the situation? Like, one of the total rumors, not founded in anything, but it's part of the speculation, is a year after he had asked to be traded, like he didn't want to go through that PR hit again. But then when the team was this bad again and no closer to a quarterback, most likely, that now he said, all right, guys, I now want traded again, but I'm not going to go public. I'm not going to humiliate the organization.
It's a possibility. It's an absolute possibility.
And then what does Jimmy do with that information?
Even if it wasn't, remember, the conversation being there, how many Browns fans do you think who are an absolute no when this first got brought up at the end of the year? I mean, it's been 6 months now almost. When this got brought up first at the end of the year, how many people are an absolute no that have changed their minds to considering it now? What percentage would you say of Browns fans? Would it be as high as 50-50 who have changed their mind on that? Would it be even more that have changed their mind on that? I'm asking a lot of questions. There's a lot of hypotheticals here.
I think, Kenny, once they had this draft, as ballyhooed as it was and universally praised by even people that typically hate what you do, when that happened, I think fans were like, oh, now we got to keep Miles. We've loaded up the team in 2 drafts. Now we got to keep him.
I think there is a group of fans who have also thought that. And I think that's a great thought by you. I thought like that. But also it's like, well, these are young players. They're good young players, but are they ready to win now? Miles wants to win now. This team might not be ready to win now. The most I'm saying 7 wins. I'm getting killed for it online, saying I'm a homer for saying 7 wins. 7 wins makes you a homer? Lord almighty.
Wait, didn't Peterlin say 10 wins?
Well, Peterlin's saying 10 wins, then he's on some good gummies, brother. But either way, maybe he ends up being right. I hope he ends up being right.
Would be awesome.
But as of right now, it feels like he might be on the gummies. Which is legal, which is perfectly fine. He's a grown adult. He can do what he wants, just as long as he's not operating machinery. So if he says 10, then that's okay. But if I'm saying 7, and then I'm hearing Jonathan say, well, Todd's going to take credit for this, I'm going, yeah, no one's taking credit for 7 wins. If they're not ready to do it, then why wouldn't you make this move? Because the more we talked about this last week, the more we discuss this, the more it's out there in the open. Why would Miles say anything? Maybe he can get exactly what he wants. Hell, he can get an extension with the Browns if he wants to anytime, basically, when he walks into the building. And if he gets traded, guess what? The team that trades for him is going to make him the highest paid guy because he has a no-trade clause. So that's going to be worked out as well. So anyway, it goes Miles' way. He doesn't got to say a word. Right. You don't have to be in the country.
Right. Is Miles making $40 million a year? Was that his last contract? And Will Anderson just got up to 50?
Yes.
So... okay.
And Miles goes, I'm better than him.
Yeah, better than Will Anderson. Micah Parsons got 46.5, Aiden Hutchinson 45, and we're not talking about the guarantees and everything. But, like, Miles, if I'm Myles Garrett, I'm shooting for the moon. Like, all right, fine. I'll show up. I'll actually talk to the head coach again. Make me the highest paid non-quarterback in the game. Oh, and by the way, guarantee.
And then you wonder,
guarantee that contract.
Because they haven't talked, and even I had to admit, I'm like, okay, it is getting a little bit weird that they wouldn't really speak to or they haven't seen each other. I mean, my God, he is a leader on the team, and I got Shedeur Sanders basically living in the facility over the last how many months over there, and he's trying to be the starting quarterback. You got one guy who can just show up and start and be available every single day. That's Miles. I even have to admit it's been a little bit awkward that they haven't seen each other at all. Maybe in his own way, he's trying to get a contract extension as well, but what's the worst part that could happen here? If he gets traded, and the team he gets traded for, he has to approve of it, and then after he approves of it, I'm sure he's going to get an extra contract. This all goes Miles' way. This conversation happening goes Miles' way. Miles could be very disinterested in wanting to stay or wanting to leave. He could very well want to be a Cleveland Brown for life. I'd love him to say all that, but he knows that that's not in his best interest. That's not in his best business because he's only going to get traded to what? A contender, and he's only going to get traded to a team that's going to what? Give him more money. This is all for the glorification of Miles, and it's not a bad thing. It's just that he holds all the cards in this scenario unless the Browns actually decide to trade him. And again, that goes around in a circle again in that conversation. So everything goes to him. So I could see us doing this year, next year, even the year after that, as long as they're still not very good. Now, there is a diminishing return out of all that, but my God, as long as he still has a no-trade clause and he's still putting up 16 to 20 sacks a year, you can't say nothing to the guy. Let me go to the phones. Larry in Cleveland, got to go quick. Go.
We need to keep Miles.
Larry, you're on speaker. We can't do it. 216-474-0092. Guys, you got to take it off speaker when you talk, okay?
And don't do it from caves.
And, yes, if you're in a bathroom, please. The sound reverberates. Something possibly with some things on the wall and some furniture. They act as good baffles. 216-474-0092. Like, I do think the more we talk about it, the more people, when it came to like Odell, hey, maybe this does make sense. Maybe we should talk about it. The more this discussion continues, the more maybe people come to the side of it and say, you know what? Maybe it is time. Now, I think that comes with a whole another set of problems. And if you want to see what we can get out of this season, you are more than welcome to say no. More than welcome to say no. But I'm willing to bet there's been some people changing their minds here over the last couple of months. So every time this gets brought up.
What happened? Because what did the Cowboys end up winning? I know they had Dak, but what did they end up winning? How many games last year without Micah Parsons? Were they a 7-win team? Let's say the Browns traded Miles. And then what do you know? After all these years, the offense finally clicks. You've got these young wide receivers. Shedeur takes off. Maybe Deshaun takes off. Whatever. And they end up winning 7 or 8 games. And the defense is, a fraction of what it was.
I thought they were 9-win. They were 7-9-1. You were right.
So what would happen? What would be the response if that were the case? Would it be, oh my God, why did you trade Miles? You would have gone to the playoffs and had a chance to win a playoff game. Or would it be, holy cow, look at where the offense is ascending. Now, with all these draft picks, we can build a balanced, full, comprehensive football team that over the next 2 to 3 years could take off.
You have a lot of flexibility. 216-474-0092. All this, and there's another option at QB, but boy, he comes with a brand new set of problems. We thought we've been through it all. Not yet. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on The Fan. Friends, Ken Carman here for Classic Mazda. Whether you're on the east
Spirit is calling. Order a Chick-fil-A sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit with Simply Orange Juice on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonial.
Talk about how the Cavs should fix their problems throughout the offseason. Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
How you doing, Tone?
Weathering the storm, Kenny, weathering the storm.
At this time, an hour ago, you were walking out on me.
Yeah, I staged a walk out.
This is where things happen, friend.
I had to put my foot down.
Where it happened.
Pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter.
Before we get going on this Brendan Sorsby stuff, because I got many thoughts, can I just say thank you to the fine folks at Rhodes High School?
Yeah.
They were wonderful to me yesterday. Thank you so much. I appreciate them.
What an honor, Kenny. You got to speak at commencement.
I wore a tie, and I told them, they were like, because it's Cleveland schools, and so there are 28 graduation ceremonies that go on. And they were discussing about the time factor because there were 2 in one day. They have a different school over there that they had to do.
Is it day night?
It was a day-night doubleheader, yes. They took 30 minutes off, and then they went right after it. So it was a traditional doubleheader, yeah. And I said, guys, you ain't got to worry about it. They're young people. I'm honored to be here. I'm going to speak for 5 minutes. And that I kept it a nice tight 5. I was very happy with myself. Went boom, boom. Thank you very much.
Technically, I did the time. You went 5:24.
Oh, really? Damn, yeah. I thought I hit it on the nose.
Damn,
that's not bad.
That's
Thank
pretty
you.
good.
Did you want to hear from you?
No.
Oh, I want to hear this so bad.
No. Look at that face. Oh, my God. Look at that face.
All he did for 5 minutes.
That's what I did for 5 minutes, 24
seems
seconds.
Unbecoming of a commencement.
No.
They were threatening my body by the time we got 3 minutes in, and I kept it going.
I will invite those of you that are interested in 7-8 minutes. Go out there, search it up. You can find it.
Yeah,
it's pretty easy, accessible.
It is out there.
I want to help them get their numbers up.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very nice thing to do. They're wonderful children. Well, now they're adults because they just graduated. Wonderful people over there. And I thank Coach Spencer for inviting me to go speak to him. And I got a nice gift bag with lots of goodies in it, and that was wonderful as well.
Where do you put
now,
that?
Wayne Dawson got a jacket from Ginn Academy. Obviously, it's easier to find Wayne's jacket than it is to find my size jacket.
On your list of speaking engagements,
go to plentyofmanginis.com and you can get it.
It's a very large jacket I would have to wear.
Where is this on your? You've done so much in your career. Where does this one?
Gotta be top 3 if we're gonna do it.
You're molding young men and women.
And when it comes to actually like getting to do something, not like honors bestowed or whatever.
Yeah.
Probably number 1. Oh, am I counting youth coaching?
Everything.
Youth number 2 then. I can't think of anything else.
Over being a father and husband?
That doesn't count. Everybody's supposed to be a father and a husband. I mean,
What about performing in that movie when you were younger? That's
true.
The role of a lifetime.
That was not because it got cut. Like George Steinbrenner, my role got cut. Let me do this, you bitch! My role got cut. I cannot believe you guys found that clip still because that's amazing. Glad I still sound kind of that way. It's good. It was a good scene. It got cut, so I can't put that in there. I still don't have a movie credit. And I will let you know that I never got a call back for that one that you wanted me to put my name in for the.
Are you serious?
The one that's being made locally?
John Wayne Gacy one?
No, it was not the John Wayne Gacy one. I'm not a good actor, so I don't know if they would actually film me in that role.
The reprise of What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
I could be the John Wayne Gacy stuntman. I'm moving past that.
Get out of the house.
But it was felt bad about that. That scene with Leonardo DiCaprio where he walks at
That's
that
brutal.
Oh my God. Mary Steenburgen, Johnny Depp scene.
It was tough.
A formative time in the young man's life.
It was, yes. Yes, it was. Yeah, I never got a call back. Never got a message back. I'm going to have to ask Vince Gary what happened. Maybe they got my thing lost. I don't know. So I still don't have an acting credit to me.
Were you sweating up there a little bit?
No.
Okay.
I actually was. It was hotter than a bastard outside. I was nervous walking in because I was like, oh, my God, if it's hot in this gym. And the gym was cool. They had air conditioning in the gym because it's an older building. And I go, I wonder if they got AC. They had AC. Boy, I was taken care of. Yeah, 5:24. Glad I got in and out in a reasonable amount of time. I'm not getting out in a reasonable amount of time on this because I wanted to bring this up for everybody as I'm trying to thank Rhodes High School. But let me tell you, thank you for another conversation about another quarterback. This comes with a different set of circumstances. Here's Albert Breer yesterday on a one Brendan Sorsby, who's fighting with the NCAA for eligibility.
If you're going to draft Brendan Sorsby, you should do it with the idea that this is going to be a redshirt year for him. And with the benefit that if you do draft him and you do get him, maybe there's some sort of NFL suspension. I'm not sure how they're going to work that. There's obviously the Terrell Pryor precedent. You would hope that at least this was treated like a drug suspension where you can have the guy in the building and he can be doing some work with your people. And so you get to know him and you get kind of a head start on what would be his rookie year of 2027.
All right. I know where I've been before.
Yeah. So the only thing that I continue to try to persuade anybody, I have no idea if he's good. When I hear Albert Breer say, hey, he could be top 5 next year, you know what the afternoon show brought up yesterday? I think it was Nick Wilson, credit to him. He said, well, what would Drew Aller have been the year before? Might have been thought of as someone who could go top 5. So these things are fluid.
Yeah.
I do look at like the stuff that Albert was talking about that they fall in love with. Now Zach Wilson's name was brought up. That's not good, but also Caleb Williams, like the athleticism, the arm angles, just the arm in general. Like you could see a world where had he have been able to play this year, what was it supposed to be, Texas A&M?
Mm-hmm.
With their
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech. I'm sorry, with their roster, with their committed money. Like you could have seen a world where he vied for a Heisman and then went top 5. Sure, that could have happened. We'll never know. And there are 1,000 questions about the gambling component of this. What does this mean for his character? Like I asked you, we got into a very, very. I thought
it was deep. I didn't think we were angry with each other.
No.
Because I have my concerns.
It's a debate because I think you're going to see more and more players who have unfortunately either been subjected to this or have turned to this. Man, I mean, high school kids are doing some of this.
Personally,
stuff.
I think it's the new weed.
Yeah, so
it's like, what does it harm?
If you're a GM,
well, they have their rules.
If you're a GM, obviously. Every single locker room in sports, they make sure to tell everybody the warning signs, and you're going to get kicked off the team. Anything associated with gambling, just cannot do it. And he committed the cardinal sin. The question is, can he get past that? Is this a mortal sin? Can he ever come back on an actual team at a professional level?
They're saying right now, well, he could be a top 5 pick if he's eligible to play in college, which he has an injunction, I think, scheduled next week. Now, we have seen the picture of that judge that is going to be figuring out that injunction. If he gets that injunction passed, he's able to play college football this year. And the reason we bring up the judge is because it seems to be he is a very big booster of Texas Tech. For the good of things, I hope he's not an impartial judge because I don't want the decision in our hands. I don't, because there's been plenty of guys. I mean, Drew Aller, before he ended up having the senior season that was a total wreck, you could have seen him being a top 5 pick. In fact, I told you, if he would have had that game against Notre Dame went well, Drew Aller would be on the Cleveland Browns right now for better for worse. Andrew Berry loved him. That's a known fact. Matt Barkley, had he not went back, would he have been a first-round pick? Cardell Jones,
a bunch of these.
Had he not went back, is he a first-round pick? So just because we think he could be top 5. Now, Garrett Nussmeier went 7th round, for crying out loud. And there were people I trust. Excuse me. There's people you all trust that said he was a first-round talent, first-round pick, Garrett Nussmeier. Just because we think he is right now, let's not go crazy. Because when you have him there, now there's a lot there. It's like if he's not eligible to play, if this is like an NFL type of suspension, if Goodell's involved here, you would hope that he's available to work with you, and we could use this as a red shirt year. But if you're giving up, like a second-round pick for Brendan Sorsby, is that going to hurt you going into 2027? Trying to get, well, first off, you give up a 2027 pick. Second, are we not talking about quarterbacks here just because we have Brendan Sorsby? And can you trust Brendan Sorsby? I mean, this is a serious thing. And if it were a lot of other positions and a lot of different spots in the draft, I can look past some personal problems there. But we are talking about something here that's different. And it's still, to me, it's too fresh, it's too unknown, and I don't believe I can trust him. And we've had enough of our problems with quarterbacks, and we talked ourselves into trusting all types of other things. And this just has not been the place where guys go to resurrect their careers. With the exception of one guy, and that was Joe Flacco.
I just love that you wouldn't have to tank to get him.
No, you wouldn't.
Have to.
No, you wouldn't.
We wouldn't have to sit here and jump up and down after losses and say, hey, we're one step closer to the quarterback. Like you'd have him in the building, might serve a suspension, but they've had guys do that and then still be able to work with the coaches, and then be able to hit the ground running after like what would be a redshirt year this year.
But that trust factor really plays in. I'd have to learn so much more because there's not a lot of time. I think in July he has a window open from the 5th to the 12th. If he can't get his injunction passed, if he has to go to the NFL, you have from the 5th to the 12th to work out, and then I think a couple weeks later, then they can actually draft you for the supplemental draft, and then you got to go through the hoops of Goodell. We're back tomorrow, 6 to 10. Mary Kay Cavett, she said emphatically yesterday on Baskin and Phelps, Myles Garrett ain't getting traded. Well, we'll talk to Mary Kay Cavett about that coming up tomorrow morning, 8:20. Thanks to Joe Varden for joining us. That was spicy. We're back tomorrow, 6 to 10. Have a wonderful day, my friends. Go Guardians. Not a must-win, but they got to win it. Hey, sounds good.
Where's your entourage now?
Cool, I got on the last show.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God.